The story opens with a girl crying, begging a man to let them leave and asking why he was doing this to them. Two girls were present, one with green hair and one with blue hair. The blue-haired girl lay motionless, her life already gone. The man, the protagonist, began walking toward a portal. He stopped and looked back when the green-haired girl spoke, telling him that because of what he had done, the other girl had taken her own life. She asked him if he was finally satisfied now. Those words struck a nerve. The boy responded coldly, saying she already knew why they had been locked away and why the blue-haired girl had chosen to die. His expression hardened as he told the green-haired girl that this outcome was the result of her own actions. Hearing this, she broke down further, crying that he was wrong and that they had done nothing to deserve this. But the boy no longer listened. To him, it was already finished. This moment marked the protagonist's sixth regression. Once again, he had failed to stop the end. His name was Yuji Tai, and he had once more failed to prevent the apocalypse. The horizon was filled with monsters and dragons, swallowing the world in destruction. A thought crossed his mind. If he had followed the woman's advice back then, would things have turned out differently? Before he could dwell on it, a red dragon gathered flames in its mouth and aimed straight at him. The attack was released with deadly intent. Yuji calmly accepted it, telling himself that he had no regrets. He activated his formless sword technique. Having lived through 6 cycles of this brutal world, Yuji Tai understood that experience and failure were everything. Using the formless sword to force a path forward, he refused to give in to fate and charged toward the towering dragons. He fought fiercely, cutting down every monster in his way. Eventually, he stood atop shattered ruins, completely drained, realizing that the flow of enemies would never end. A system notification appeared, declaring that Earth had acquired the status abnormality, Apocalypse, confirming his inability to save the world. Even so, a massive golden clock filled with countless turning gears appeared in the sky. As the Grand Clock's authority activated and time began revering, Yuji closed his eyes. He accepted the moment, believing his struggle had not been meaningless. The system announced the reset, and the timeline began to rewind. In a modern city, people gathered on the streets, staring in disbelief at a strange purple gate suspended in the sky. It felt unreal, like something from a science fiction movie. Some shouted about calling the police. A young woman urged her companion to leave, sensing danger, but the man dismissed her concerns, claiming it was harmless. Without warning, monsters burst out of the gate. The man was torn apart while trying to take a photo. Phones hit the ground, blood sprayed across the street, and screams filled the air. The modern world instantly became a killing ground as gates opened across the globe, releasing knights, beasts, and unfamiliar creatures. Humanity stood on the edge of extinction. However, the awakening of new abilities in certain people marked the beginning of a new era known as Neogenesis. To prepare for the coming threat, talented youths were gathered from around the world and trained on an artificial floating island called Hateling. That city soon became the Global Academy, marking the birth of Lair. Yuji Tai, now beginning his 7th regression, made his way toward Lair. The scene shifted to a narrow alley where a criminal held a woman hostage with a blade, shouting for everyone to stay back. The woman cried as police surrounded the man, ordering the superhuman psycho to disable his ability and surrender. He laughed it off, saying he was already finished and would take others with him. In an instant, Yuji Tai appeared behind the criminal and calmly ordered him to give up. The man froze, shocked that he hadn't sensed anyone approach. He lashed out wildly, asking if Yuji was a cop. Yuji avoided the attack effortlessly and struck him down with a single blow, stating that he wasn't just a cop, he was the police. The criminal hit the ground unconscious. Yuji muttered that he needed to be more careful with his strength, realizing he had forgotten restraint while acting as Officer Yuji of the Lair District Police Station. The next morning at the station, a colleague explained how the criminal had been chased and eventually took a hostage. Noticing the unconscious man lying nearby, the officer asked why he was there. Yuji replied flatly that he had brought him in on the way. A policewoman approached, intending to ask for a report but hesitated. Instead, she thanked him quietly and commented that Yuji Tai looked taller and more handsome than before. Another officer arrived, confirming the capture but nervously scolding Yuji for being too rough, worried about complaints. Yuji showed little reaction. He glanced around the station at unfamiliar faces. None of them felt familiar. He hadn't returned to work even once since the regression began. After handing over the criminal, he told them to handle the rest. The reason Yuji had abandoned his normal life and chosen endless regressions was the death of the baby dragons. These young dragons, born in the otherworld Escalifa, came to Earth to experience joy and create happy memories. Some went mad after witnessing wars and died after losing control. Others were crushed by the hatred directed at them. A few even chose to end their own lives after failing their missions. Furious over their deaths, the adult dragons launched a full-scale assault on humanity. Though Yuji grew immensely powerful through repeated lives, it was never enough. He had reached a limit where further growth was impossible. Because of this, in his 7th attempt, he decided to change his approach completely. As Yuji prepared to leave, the policewoman stopped him again, asking about his plans and awkwardly suggesting dinner. Yuji declined politely, saying he had somewhere important to go. When she asked where, he answered simply, "I'm going to Europe." The scene shifted to Florence, Italy. The green-haired girl was smiling as she played with children in a park, making flower crowns. Yuji Tai watched quietly from a distance before approaching her. When he spoke, she turned toward him in surprise. With a calm but firm expression, Yuji told her one thing. She was coming with him. The girl activates her collapsed Babel ability to comprehend foreign languages and returns his greeting with hesitation. She asks why he is searching for her, and Yuji Tai replies briefly that he has business with her. He then asks if she understands who she is, and she confirms that she does. He follows up by asking if she knows who he is. She clearly states his name, Yuji Tai, and smiles innocently, asking if she answered correctly. Yuji Tai's expression hardens with suspicion, and he demands to know how she knows his name. She casually points to the ID card attached to his clothes. Only then does he realize his name is plainly written on it. The girl lets out an awkward laugh, trying to smooth things over, claiming she was only joking and that she knows nothing about him or what he does. She quickly corrects herself, saying there is only one thing she is certain of, that he possesses overwhelming power and clearly does not belong in this place. Yuji Tai remains silent for a moment. She then asks if he came to kill her, which he denies. Nervously, she asks if this is a kidnapping instead. He replies that it is something close to that. Trying to lighten the mood, the girl jokes about whether his intentions toward dragons are suspicious or if he is trying to flirt with her, but Yuji cuts her off coldly and tells her to stop speaking nonsense. He explains that his true purpose is to protect her in this dangerous world and warns her that he will not hesitate to use force if she refuses to listen. He mentions that the eyes of the Green Dragon clan can perceive divine providence, allowing her to grasp situations faster than others, and he hopes she will judge things wisely. The girl gives a small smile and asks if he will treat her kindly as long as she behaves and listens properly. Yuji Tai agrees. She accepts that she has no other option but adds one condition, that he treat her as a guest. She gives him a playful wink, asks him to promise, and holds out her pinky finger. Yuji Tai notices her finger trembling and realizes she is actually afraid of him. After a brief pause, he links fingers with her, sealing the promise and beginning a strange relationship between them. The scene shifts to the following morning. The girl peeks out from behind a door wearing an oversized shirt, wondering if her master is awake. She steps into the living room and finds Yuji Tai seated within a strange black aura. She calls out to him nervously. He calmly instructs the shadows, stating that nothing will go wrong as long as they follow orders. Before her eyes, the shadows take shape, forming an identical copy of him. The duplicate bows respectfully and walks past her. She stares in shock at how perfectly it resembles him. Yuji Tai tells her not to worry about it, explaining that it is merely a substitute going to work in his place. He then asks if she slept well. The girl sits beside him, realizing he will not be going to work himself. He explains that the shadow clone is one of his abilities, meaning he is technically still working. He adds that he needs to remain by her side. She laughs awkwardly, saying she understands. To ease the tension, she suggests having breakfast and sits next to him while he reads the newspaper. She points out that he skipped dinner the night before. Although he initially refuses, she insists, saying it feels strange to eat alone when the owner of the house does not eat. Yuji Tai asks seriously if she is always this focused on food, reminding her that dragons can survive without eating for extremely long periods. She responds with a playful smile, explaining that food is not about survival but about happiness and energy. Suddenly, she stands up energetically and declares that this situation will not do. She insists they go shopping so she can show him the true power of breakfast. They arrive at a large E-Mart, where her beauty draws attention and people whisper about the handsome man accompanying her. She walks cheerfully through the store while Yuji Tai follows quietly. Noticing the growing pile of items, he asks if it is not excessive for breakfast. She explains that the kitchen is completely empty and they need ingredients for future meals. She wants to return immediately to cook, but Yuji Tai decides they should drop the groceries at home first. He then stops her, saying there is another place they need to visit. She looks disappointed, having enjoyed the shopping, but he insists, explaining that breakfast time has already passed and there are essential things she needs to live here properly. They arrive at a suspicious-looking shop where an old man with a mechanical eye greets them. Laughing, the man asks if the young lady is Yuji Tai's girlfriend. Yuji responds with a cold threat, warning the man to keep his mouth shut and do his job if he does not want to lose his remaining eye. A short time later, the girl comes out holding an official identification card, amazed that she finally has an identity. Yuji Tai asks how she managed to live on Earth without any identification or bank account. As she looks at the card, she notices her new name, U-Bomb. She asks why he gave her his family name and chose Bomb. Yuji Tai points to a nearby shop sign reading 4 Seasons, explaining that the name is inspired by the seasons. Since there are 4 dragons to find, he chose Bomb, meaning spring, for her. The girl smiles brightly, overwhelmed with happiness, thinking that spring represents life. As they walk, she admits she is no longer afraid of him, even though he still feels a little scary. Despite this, her dragon instincts continue to sense the dangerous dark aura surrounding him. Still, she smiles and tells him she does not believe he is a bad person. Yuji Tai asks if she can really decide that after only 1 day. She answers confidently that her intuition surpasses everyone else, because she is from the Green Dragon clan. Green then asks cheerfully if she can stay by his side and watch him a little longer. Yuji Tai notices that this is a genuine smile, one he had never seen from the Green Dragon in any of his previous regressions. She invites him to have dinner together. As they walk, Yuji thinks to himself that this beginning does not seem bad at all. The scene then shifts to a barren region in Africa under the moonlight. A red-haired girl stands over a defeated opponent, mocking his claims of strength. She presses her military boot against the screaming man's face, ignoring his cries, before delivering a brutal kick that shatters his bones and silences him. Wearing a skull mask, she boasts about her overflowing energy and her 199th consecutive victory without a single loss. With a savage grin, she looks ahead, wondering who her next opponent will be. Meanwhile, the news buzzes with reports of a massive armed conflict erupting in South Africa, where a terrorist group called Varkata is launching air raids. Amidst rumors of a monster called the Night Hunter clashing with the South African Union, Yuji Tai watches these reports on his room with an expensive-looking computer screen. Realizing the time has finally come to move, Green interrupts him, knocking on the door to remind him that it is time for dinner. He agrees and decides to come out immediately. At the dinner table, Green presents a strange and horrifying dish containing whole fish stuck vertically into purple rice, and confidently asks Yuji Tai for his opinion. She explains that she was inspired by a sardine dish she saw in England, thinking that combining it with rice would make it suitable since Koreans rely on rice as a staple. However, the sight of the fish looking like they are screaming, "Just kill me," causes a heavy silence to fall over the room, and signs of deep frustration appear on Yuji Tai's face. While trying to eat, Yuji Tai tells his companion of his intention to go get the red tomorrow. Green's expression shifts to shock. She warns him seriously about the difficulty of the task, emphasizing that bringing her back will be extremely arduous and that she won't obey him as easily as she did. He asks her to accompany him to help convince her, but she wonders what the point is, given that different clans usually keep their distance. Yuji Tai is surprised by their differing desires and goals, and Green explains that she prefers building things slowly, while the Red Dragon clan is completely different. She explains that the Red Dragon clan loves war and violence and is obsessed with displays of power, warning that trying to subdue her by force would be dangerous, as surrender to them is a fate worse than death. Yuji Tai reveals to her with seriousness and concern that delay will make things dangerous, explaining that a hunter is already chasing her, and the Red will inevitably die at this rate. He assures her that her accompanying him is the only way to resolve the matter peacefully without fighting. Green looks at him in astonishment, admitting she was surprised by his frank request for help, as she thought he was the type to carry all burdens alone no matter what. She smiles cheerfully, announcing her agreement to help because she doesn't want her companion, the Red, to die either. However, she raises a finger slightly, nodding that she has just one condition. Green insists with a serious expression that Yuji Tai must eat all the food she served, revealing that she noticed him stop eating and quietly put down his spoon the moment the name the Red was mentioned. Yuji Tai falls silent and looks down nervously, realizing that she has detected his hidden anxiety. The scene shifts to a devastated city where soldiers' corpses are scattered everywhere, and the red-haired girl stands amidst the destruction. The girl looks down with contempt at one of the soldiers lying on the ground, wondering sarcastically why these men are so weak. She expresses her dissatisfaction that her 200th victory was this pathetic and wonders about her next destination now that no one is left to fight in Africa. Thinking of visiting the Green Dragon in Europe, two soldiers appear behind a wall, trembling with terror and describing the situation as madness. They talk about the entire elite squad being wiped out by a single girl, describing her as a battle-crazed monster. One of the soldiers realizes they cannot face her alone, muttering with hope that he will arrive quickly. Suddenly, the girl appears directly above them, mocking their whispering in the dark like suspicious people. The soldier turns in panic, screaming that she is behind them. She attacks them with lightning speed, and the soldier realizes it is too late. However, a bright golden light shines and blocks her attack, causing the girl to retreat, wondering in astonishment at the density of the mana she faced. The forces clash, creating a massive boom. The soldiers watch the scene in shock, unable to believe she managed to penetrate the mana with her weapon, confirming she is a true monster. A huge armored knight appears, wondering if this woman is the Night Hunter. While the soldiers cheer the name of their savior, Javier Karma, ranked 8th as a superhuman in the African Union, orders his soldiers to evacuate the wounded and retreat while surrounded by a burning golden glow. The girl addresses him as the monster, mockingly admitting his attack was heavy and powerful, and deduces that he is the boss. Javier Karma notices that she is female and smaller than he expected, so she drops her sword, joking and asking if he has fallen in love with her too, pointing out that this is why she wears the mask. She tells Javier Karma confidently that everyone gets distracted by the beauty of her face, so they don't fight properly. Javier Karma asks her why she doesn't surrender despite surely feeling the power gap between them. The girl laughs insanely, rejecting the idea of running away just because her weapon broke. She unleashes her internal power, declaring that she prefers fighting to the death over a shameful surrender. She rushes towards him with immense speed, delivering consecutive punches and kicks to his solid armor. The girl spots a gap in his defense and screams with excitement. She delivers a powerful and cheap shot to a sensitive area, but she is stunned and shocked to find that Javier Karma didn't move or even blink despite the blow. Javier Karma looks at her coldly, saying he guesses she has never fought anyone stronger than her before, and that all her battles were easy and boring like games. His eye glows gold, declaring that her talent is amazing, but he is not someone who will play her little games. He raises his huge sword high while the girl screams in terror as she barely dodges his attack. Javier Karma unleashes the skill blade of raw ignition. The Red realizes in a split second that she is unable to dodge the incoming attack, so she braces her body for the collision as a bright light engulfs her. Her body slams with immense force into the rock wall behind her, causing destruction and sending rocks flying. In contrast, the armored knight Javier Karma stands amidst the dust, admitting to himself that she is a true monster because she forced him to reinforce his arm in a split second to block, and he decides he needs to increase his attack power. The dust settles a little, and Javier Karma looks at the shattered wall in surprise, wondering if the girl has escaped. Meanwhile, Green is hiding behind the rubble, holding the Red and covering her mouth with her hand to prevent her from making any sound. The Red looks at her sister in shock, wondering why she is here. Green tells her quietly that she came to save her after hearing she was in trouble. The Red is annoyed by her interference, mocking the idea of Green coming to save her when she can't even fight. But Green warns her seriously that she might really die if she continues like this. The Red pushes her sister's hand away stubbornly, insisting that she will finish this fight to the end whether she dies or not, and asks her not to interfere. Green looks at her with a sharp and scary gaze, warning her and declaring that their fun will also end the moment she dies. While Green heals her sister's arm using her magic, she reminds her that her death doesn't concern her alone, and that she surely doesn't want to ruin the clan's entertainment on Earth. Green smiles gently and innocently, confirming her desire to stay on Earth, and asks her sister for help. The Red falls silent for a moment, realizing that her opponent is insanely strong and will catch them the moment they run, but Green reassures her that the old man will handle it. The girl is surprised by the presence of someone else, and Green confirms with a confident smile that she didn't come alone. Suddenly, Yuji Tai appears on the battlefield. Javier Karma turns towards him, wondering about the identity of this intruder. Yuji Tai stands firmly with an aura of power surrounding him, answering briefly that he is her guardian. Suddenly, the scene shifts to another area where we see a girl with golden hair who was obviously the golden dragon. She catches the scent of a boy, knowing that while it smelled like the green, it was not the green but a human instead. The golden dragon wonders who the boy is, and if he is perhaps not a bad man. The scene shifts back to the battlefield. Javier scoffs at the answer, pointing out that Yuji's actions and appearance hardly suggest someone who needs to act as a guardian. Yuji looks at him coldly. From behind the wall, Red cautiously peeks out, asking if this is the man her sister spoke about. Green immediately orders her to hide, warning that the situation is dangerous. Yuji tries to ease the tension, telling the knight that things are complicated and suggesting they stop here. Javier reacts angrily, rejecting the proposal outright. He declares that the girl has crossed a line and that her actions cannot be ignored. Yuji responds calmly that she has not killed anyone. This only fuels Javier's anger, and he warns Yuji not to play with words with him. Yuji attempts to negotiate again, promising that the girl will never appear here again and asking if the matter can be settled quietly. Javier flies into a rage, refusing to back down and declaring that the area is under the jurisdiction of the African Union. Charging his sword with immense energy, he announces that as a Union investigator, he will arrest Yuji Tai and the girl he claims guardianship over. Activating his combat ability, he lets out a resounding scream and brings his sword down, unleashing destructive golden energy toward Yuji Tai. The attack erupts in a massive explosion, smoke rising everywhere. From within the dust, Javier calls out that if Yuji truly is the guardian of that monster, he should survive an attack like this. At that moment, Yuji Tai appears behind him without a scratch, surrounded by a dark aura. With clear boredom in his voice, he mutters, "How tiring," mocking Javier for lacking flexibility despite being ranked 8th among superhumans. Javier is struck with terror, wondering when Yuji appeared behind him. Before he can unleash Blade of Raw Ignition, Yuji breaches his defenses in an instant, striking and severing the arm holding the sword. Yuji approaches him slowly, whispering coldly that this is the worst day of his life. He explains that, as an investigator, Javier attempted to arrest the girl but instead encountered an unknown monster. Because of his misfortune, he failed to block the first strike, resulting in the loss of his arms and eyes, while the monster and the girl escaped together. Javier screams, begging him to wait, but Yuji continues mercilessly, saying he will forget this truth soon enough. With a single bloody strike, Yuji cuts off Javier's remaining arm and eyes. He notes calmly that healing-type superhumans in the Union can restore his limbs as long as he remains alive. Yuji believes that fear engraved into the mind lasts forever, making it his preferred method of control, and he is certain that even the violent young dragon known as the Night Hunter is no exception. Red watches the scene in horror and disbelief, asking Green what kind of monster Yuji is. Green answers calmly that he is not a monster but a human. Red scoffs, saying that if he is human, then she must be a lizard. Yuji turns to them and addresses Red directly, calling her a red dragon. He sternly tells her that from now on, she will live in his house and under his protection. He promises her freedom within reasonable limits and support if she needs it. Suddenly, his expression darkens, and he warns her of severe consequences if she crosses his boundaries. Red trembles in fear. Green quickly tries to calm the situation, promising to explain everything later. Red shouts, asking why he has to be so scary, while Green winks playfully. Yuji Tai gives Red the name Red Rayam and orders her to remember it. He then turns and leaves the battlefield, with the two girls following behind him. Green whispers teasingly that Red has grown since their last meeting. Red snaps back irritably that she is not in the mood for jokes. Yuji's shadow announces that the mission is complete. At the same time, the scene shifts to the Amazon rainforest. The real Yuji Tai sits calmly beside a beautiful blonde girl named Gold. He disconnects from his shadow copy and mutters, "Good job." He reflects that sending Green was the right decision, since Red is too wild to be convinced easily on his own. Gold interrupts him curiously, asking who he was talking to. She laughs cheerfully, pointing at his smartwatch and wondering if he usually talks to himself. Her title, the Golden Dragon, becomes clear. She is someone who naturally draws attention and once lived 3 lives shining like a star. Ironically, her most brilliant life was also the one where she caused the greatest disasters. Knowing how toxic admiration can be, she chose to live in this remote place, even though she originally came for the game. Gold approaches Yuji with obvious fascination, admiring the floating screen and its image quality. She hops around him happily, saying the last person she met didn't have anything like this. Yuji asks her seriously why she is living in a place like this. He tells her that if she came for the game, she should be among humans, not in a forest filled with monsters and insects. Surprised that he knows about the game, Gold listens as Yuji explains he learned it from Green. Yuji then asks if she is afraid of humans. She hesitates before admitting nervously that she isn't exactly afraid, but her previous experiences living among them were unpleasant. Some stared at her strangely, while others chased her constantly, which made her uncomfortable. They fall silent for a moment as she recalls those memories. Yuji breaks the silence by asking if she likes bread. She answers in surprise that dragons don't need to eat. In response, Yuji uses Shallow Abyss to take out a bag filled with a delicious aroma. Gold stares in shock and steps closer to smell it. Realizing it is freshly baked bread, her eyes widen in amazement as she looks at the golden pastries. She drools at the sight of donuts, berry tarts, and egg tarts, asking why he brought so much. Yuji takes the opportunity to invite her to come with him instead of staying in the empty forest. He reassures her that her friends are there and that the place is safe, telling her to enjoy the game like the other dragons. Gold hesitates while wiping her drool, remembering her mother's warning about following strangers. Yuji turns away coldly and says he will buy her macarons. Her resistance collapses instantly, and she ignores all warnings without hesitation. The scene shifts to the city, where Red stands on the balcony as leaves drift down around her, irritation clear on her face. She mutters in annoyance as she recalls her earlier encounter with Yuji Tai. Inside the apartment, Green watches her quietly from the living room. Yuji Tai soon enters the apartment accompanied by the barefoot blonde girl, Gold, who excitedly explains that she followed him only because the sausage bread was far tastier than the finest sausages in their world. While speaking, she bites into a macaron, her eyes lighting up as she praises its heavenly taste, marveling at the crunchy outside and soft inside. Green welcomes Yuji Tai back, while Gold responds with her mouth still full. Suddenly, Gold lets out an excited scream. Upon noticing Green, she rushes over and hugs her tightly, affectionately saying how much she missed her, and commenting that Green has become even more beautiful since their last meeting. She then asks curiously whether Green lives here alone with Yuji Tai. Green explains that she hasn't been here long either and gestures toward Red on the balcony. At the same time, Yuji Tai stands before his shadow copy that has returned from its mission. He thanks it briefly for its work and orders it to disperse. Red peeks in through the balcony door with an irritated expression. Yuji Tai exchanges a silent glance with her before she turns away. Gold immediately notices her and calls out cheerfully. As Gold approaches, she wrinkles her nose and comments with visible disgust about the Red Dragon clan's fondness for things harmful to the body. Without warning, Red lunges forward and clamps her hand over Gold's mouth. She shouts angrily, threatening to tear her apart if she doesn't stop the irritating chatter, making it clear that her violent nature hasn't changed at all. Later, Yuji Tai sits facing the 3 girls in the living room and asks directly about their ages. Green calmly states that she is 20. Gold announces cheerfully that she is 10, and Green adds that Red is 15. Red listens with her cheek resting on her hand, showing little interest in the discussion. Gold immediately protests, explaining enthusiastically that dragons grow faster than humans and boasting about her body, insisting there is no reason to treat her like a child. Red comments dryly that Gold does have something to be proud of. Gold then shifts the topic, asking Red about her name and whether it is just a pseudonym. Red replies indifferently that she knows nothing about that. Green steps in shyly and explains that Yuji Tai was the one who gave them their names and that her own name has become Green. Gold reacts with shock and clear disapproval, stating that names are precious and should not be given so casually before a coming-of-age ceremony. She quickly realizes the pattern, deducing that since the names are tied to the seasons, her role must be autumn. Yuji Tai confirms this, announcing that her name from now on is Yu Gold Autumn. Tai then suddenly points to the necklace Gold is wearing and tells her that when the little one inside is born, it must be named Blue Winter, leaving her completely stunned. He explains that the necklace is actually a polymorphed blue dragon egg and advises her to take good care of it, as it will hatch soon. Gold is dazzled by how much he knows despite being human and asks how he figured all that out, but Tai cuts her off, telling her she doesn't need to know the reason. His expression turns serious as he addresses all three of them. He lays down a single rule, explaining that they are free to enjoy life on Earth as entertainment, but only as long as they do not cross the boundary he has set, meaning they must not disappear from his sight. Red grumbles at this condition, calling him a dictator. The three girls sit together on the sofa in awkward silence until Tai asks sharply whether they have a problem with it. Without arguing further, they implicitly agree that staying nearby is acceptable. Green then enthusiastically suggests going out to get identification cards and buy daily necessities since they will be living here. Gold immediately gets excited by the idea, while Red remarks sarcastically about money, joking that stealing from people sounds fun. Tai hands Green a luxurious black card, telling them not to worry about money and to go enjoy themselves. Green thanks him and carefully asks about the spending limit, to which Tai responds calmly that there is no limit. The girls embark on an intense shopping spree, filling carts with clothes and all kinds of items. Notifications flood Tai's smartwatch as the spending climbs into the tens of millions and eventually hits the limit. They return home carrying countless bags and boxes, with Red proudly showing off a newly purchased sword. Gold happily admires her new clothes, while Green returns the card to Tai apologetically, worried that she spent too much. She admits regretfully that she wanted to buy clothes for him too, but the card reached its maximum. Tai reassures her that it's fine. Gold suddenly calls out to him and asks him to look at her. She shows off her fashionable outfit, proudly talking about how many beautiful clothes she bought, then pulls out a shirt matching his style and grins as she says she bought that one too. Tai tells her it suits her, earning an enthusiastic thank you. In the background, Red examines the sword she bought while Tai quietly observes their different personalities. Red asks for his opinion, saying it's a good replacement for her broken weapon. He asks if she likes it, nodding that it's a high-quality blade. She replies coldly that at least it isn't trash, while he and Green watch in silence. Gold suddenly runs over to Red with bags of clothes, excitedly saying she bought some for her too and urging her to try them on. Red snaps back angrily, saying she isn't her big sister and doesn't need them. Green quietly comments to Tai that Red is bad at expressing her feelings, but is probably grateful. Tai smiles faintly and replies that it's good to hear. Noticing that Green is the only one without shopping bags, Tai asks her about it. Green points to the kitchen table, where a small pot of rosemary sits, explaining that growing plants feels good. When he asks what she means, she smiles warmly, holding the pot and saying that plants bloom and create memories that last forever. Suddenly remembering something, Green asks if there is a way to truly enjoy life on Earth while staying within the boundary he set. Since entertainment for them isn't limited to eating and playing, Tai confirms that there is a way. He then produces an enrollment form and asks them seriously whether they would like to go to school. Red and Gold are momentarily stunned by the sudden proposal. Sometime later, the three girls return home after their admission interviews, all of them visibly exhausted. As they step inside, Gold suddenly grows anxious and shares a frightening thought with Red, nervously wondering if she might be the only one to fail while the others pass. Irritated by her pessimism, Red bluntly suggests that someone should silence her with a piece of bread. Gold turns toward Tai with watery eyes and asks pitifully if she is going to fail because she is a pig. Tai calmly reassures her that everyone did their best during the interview. Instead of calming down, Gold dramatically breaks into loud sobs, crying that she is sure she failed. Tai lifts her up effortlessly, telling her she will be fine, just as Green asks where he had gone earlier. Tai replies that he went to pick something up and pulls out a box, releasing an irresistible aroma. Gold immediately opens it, revealing fried chicken. Her eyes sparkle as she asks excitedly whether it is bread or macarons. Tai tells her it is something she will love even more. As the food is placed on the table, Tai recalls a television show from a previous life that featured a world-famous star known by an alias Gold once used. On that show, the host explained that top chefs prepared the guests' favorite food live and jokingly asked whether the rumors were true that she survived on morning dew alone. The guest laughed, denied the rumor, confirmed she was human too, and eagerly named her favorite food. Fried chicken and soda now sit in front of them. The girls stare at it with hungry eyes. Red mocks Gold, pointing out that she claimed it was her favorite food, yet looks as though she has never seen it before. Gold excitedly declares that she has decided to make it her favorite food starting today. Red dismisses it coldly, saying it is just fried chicken. Yuji-Tai quietly leaves the room to give them space. Green stops him, asking whether he will eat with them. He gently declines, telling them to enjoy it. Green blushes, pouting slightly as she insists he should join them, but before the matter settles, Yuji-Tai steps onto the balcony to answer a phone call. The call comes from the Lair administration office, confirming his identity as the student's guardian and mentioning an issue related to the interview. Yuji-Tai confirms who he is and asks what the problem is, surprised since Green has not mentioned anything. The caller then reveals the unexpected news. Green received a perfect score in the candidate selection interview. The interviewers unanimously praised her and even suggested that she serve as the student representative to take the oath at the entrance ceremony. The offer was made directly to her out of excitement. Inside, Green and Gold are happily eating chicken, but the issue is that Green has already refused the offer. The caller asks Yuji-Tai to persuade her, calling it a rare opportunity. Yuji-Tai refuses firmly, stating that he has no intention of interfering and respects the child's decision. He ends the call. As he turns around, Red appears behind him, brushing her teeth and asking who was on the phone. He replies coldly that it concerned Green and tells Red to use her name properly. Red mocks the name, calling it embarrassing and sarcastically asking if they are playing house. Her expression then sharpens as she asks what his real goal is. After a pause, she directly questions why he sent them to Lair. Yuji-Tai answers simply that he wants them to do whatever they like. Red responds with a defiant glare, saying what she wants is to fight. She asks if there are strong people at that school. He confirms that elites from all over the world gather there. Red scoffs, calling them annoying brats, only for him to remind her that she is a child in this world as well. Red slams her hand against the balcony railing and challenges him to a real fight. She acknowledges his immense power, but demands to know its limits, threatening that he must prove his strength if he wants to keep her under control. Yuji-Tai looks at her coldly and tells her to forget it and go eat chicken. This only infuriates her further as she calls him boring, flips him off, and curses loudly. Gold appears behind Red, trying to calm her by offering a piece of chicken. Red shouts at her to stop, but the moment she bites into it, her expression freezes in shock at the taste. Lair is introduced as an educational institution built upon a massive floating island called Hateling, orbiting the world. It serves as a school for superhuman children who possess blessings and special abilities. However, most of its students come from wealthy families, famous clans, and elite backgrounds, drawing public criticism that it creates a world reserved only for power and money. Green and Gold walk across the campus, with Gold admiring the surroundings and noting how difficult it is for ordinary people to enter. She wonders aloud whether Yuji-Tai is secretly the heir to a massive fortune since he spends money so freely. Green agrees that it seems possible. Gold jumps happily, celebrating everyone's success and praising the elegance of the school uniform. Gold suddenly notices that Red and Yuji-Tai are missing and asks where they went. Green explains that Red went to the Blue Dragon dormitory for her practical interview and that Yuji-Tai accompanied her as her guardian. She adds that cadet superhumans at Lair are not mentally mature yet, so adults must accompany them to prevent accidents. Gold agrees that it makes sense, since leaving Red alone would be dangerous. Green also explains that Red applied for a combat-focused track involving duels between students. Gold grows excited and suggests watching it, but Green sadly recalls that her request was denied. Gold pouts in disappointment, asking why, and Green calmly explains that all of them going together would cause chaos. Nearby students whisper curiously about their identities and families, drawn by their striking appearances. The scene shifts to Changchun Hall at the Blue Dragon Academy, where a violent confrontation unfolds inside the ring. Candidates clash with wooden swords as the crowd cheers. Yuji-Tai sits among the guardians with a cold expression. One guardian shouts at the students to fight as they were taught, but a long-haired man intervenes with a tense smile, asking everyone to calm down and consider the candidates' stress. The man approaches Yuji Tai and introduces himself as Wei Yan, the head professor of the Blue Dragon Academy, expressing his anticipation to work with the Guardians. Other Guardians admire his demeanor and kindness. Whispers spread among them, nodding that Yuji Tai is not only wealthy and powerful, but also a war hero. The announcer's voice echoes through the hall, calling out the next match between candidate number 124 and number 7. Yuji Tai narrows his eyes. Red steps into the ring holding her wooden sword, muttering in boredom that she hopes the match will not be dull. She glares at her blonde opponent and swears that if the fight isn't fun, she will truly run away from home. The audience buzzes with excitement as everyone wonders who will win, Sofia Volova or the red-haired girl. Opinions quickly split. One man remarks that the red-haired girl is completely his type, only to be scolded by his friend, who snaps that the discussion is about the winner, not attraction. That same friend confidently claims Sofia will take the match, revealing that she had already served in the RIL forces before even enrolling as a student. The RIL forces, formerly known as the Russian Special Airborne Hunter Unit, are infamous for their role in the Great War. Their training methods are widely feared, often described as brutal enough to border on torture. From the stands, a massive man roars encouragement, loudly motivating Sofia and reminding everyone that expectations are sky-high. His shouting doesn't stop, and Sofia stands in the ring visibly uncomfortable and embarrassed by his behavior. Red notices the scene and remarks dryly that Sofia's father looks like he's about to panic. She continues provoking her opponent, suggesting Sofia should withdraw and run back into her father's arms, mockingly calling her a daddy's girl. Sofia's expression instantly turns cold. She sharply orders Red to shut her mouth, her eyes flaring with anger as she threatens that Red won't walk out alive if she keeps talking. Red responds with a wild, unhinged smile and dares her to try her luck just once. The audience notices the murderous intent in Sofia's gaze and murmurs that such killing intent is expected from someone trained by the RIL, though many admit the red-haired girl looks just as dangerous. In the stands, Yuji Tai watches silently as both fighters settle into their stances, the tension thick in the air. The starting bell rings. Sofia launches forward with terrifying speed, and the clash is immediate and violent. Red blocks the opening strike cleanly, commenting with a sly grin that Sofia's speed isn't bad. In one fluid motion, Red swings her wooden sword in a wide arc, shouting for her opponent to feel the hit. Sofia counters instantly, forcing Red back. Red manages to block again, but Sofia's foot tears through her shirt. Red lets out a furious scream upon seeing her clothes damaged, shouting angrily that she hasn't even owned the outfit long enough for it to be ruined. Sofia gives her no room to complain and presses in with brutal close-range attacks, forcing Red to retreat. The fight escalates as blows and blocks echo throughout the hall at incredible speed. Sofia aims a low kick, but Red leaps high, pushing off the iron fence of the ring to change direction mid-air. She crashes down from above, bringing her sword straight towards Sofia's head. Sofia raises both arms to block, but the sheer force makes her arms tremble violently, a pained sound slipping from her under the pressure. Red doesn't relent. She keeps attacking, forcing Sofia entirely onto the defensive and driving her backward. In a blink, Red vanishes and reappears behind her. Sofia turns in shock as Red mocks her hairstyle, calling out her striped bangs with a savage grin. She asks if Sofia really thought she was strong just because Red had gone easy on her at the start. Before Sofia can react, Red unleashes a storm of precise and brutal strikes. Each blow lands cleanly, shattering Sofia's defenses and sending her crashing to the ground. Sofia coughs up blood, unable to rise as Red stands over her. Red points her sword at Sofia's face, and the referee announces the end of the match, declaring victory for candidate 124. Red laughs mockingly, remarking that Sofia talked big and acted tough, but turned out to be pathetically weak. Sofia's eyes widen in shock, unable to process the defeat or respond. Around them, whispers ripple through the crowd, dripping with disappointment toward the so-called elite gathered by the academy. Sofia's guardian rushes toward the ring in panic, shouting her name, while students whisper that she was completely crushed despite the fight starting evenly. Some remark in disbelief that the red-haired girl didn't take a single clean hit and was clearly toying with her opponent. The comments grow harsher, with people calling Sofia an easy defeat and suggesting she was admitted for publicity rather than ability. A nurse kneels beside Sofia, bathing her in soft green healing light. Sofia bows her head, her hair covering her eyes as the crowd labels her a fragile glass cannon. The nurse reports that first aid is complete, but confirms both of Sophia's arms are broken and will need time to heal. Her guardian clenches his fist as Sophia trembles, quietly insisting that she is fine and can keep fighting. He forces a gentle smile, telling her she did her best and that her current strength simply wasn't enough. He reassures her that he isn't disappointed and that losing to someone strong now may be a blessing, continuing with calm words about how defeat builds future strength. The nurse nervously tries to interrupt him, gesturing behind him as he prepares to submit the report, believing the matter is over. Suddenly, Sophia rises behind them, gripping a knife. Her eyes gleam with madness as she mutters that she didn't withdraw, she only stepped back for a moment. She tells her guardian she is fine. Meanwhile, Red turns to leave the ring, convinced the duel has ended, when Sophia coldly asks where she thinks she's going, since it isn't over yet. Sophia charges forward in a frenzy, trying to stab Red with the real knife she stole from her guardian. From the stands, Yuji-Tai watches without moving, his gaze dark and silent. As Sophia lunges, Red stops and turns, fury igniting in her eyes as she mutters curses under her breath, anger flooding her expression. Sophia screams at the top of her lungs as she charges again, openly declaring that she will kill the girl in front of her. Panic spreads through the audience and even among the professors as the duel fully turns into a blood-soaked disaster. While everyone else reacts in shock, Yuji-Tai remains seated, watching with unsettling calm. Sophia manages to shove Red out of the ring, and both of them crash hard onto the ground below. Red tears the knife out of her own body, finally understanding that her opponent intends to fight to the death. Accepting that reality, she decides to respond in kind. Sophia's eyes glow with madness as she screams for Red to die and swings wildly. Red struggles to defend herself at first, overwhelmed by Sophia's speed and rage, but at the last possible moment, she narrowly evades the fatal strike. Red lunges forward and grabs Sophia by the hair with brutal force, wrenching her head back and drawing a scream of pain. In a terrifyingly calm voice, Red tells her that she is already dead. A violent red aura erupts around her as she drives a crushing punch straight into Sophia's face. She follows with merciless blows, one after another, blood spraying across the ground while stunned students look on, wondering why no one is stopping the violence. Red delivers a final, devastating strike that knocks Sophia unconscious, her face soaked in blood. Panting heavily, Red mutters that it still isn't over. She picks up the knife that fell from Sophia's hand and steps closer, her eyes burning with vengeance as she declares she will repay everything twice over. Before the blade can fall, Sophia's massive guardian intervenes, grabbing Red's wrist mid-motion and screaming at her to stop, shouting that she has already done enough. Wei Yan immediately raises his voice, ordering the mages to activate a cross-space barrier and suspend the interview. A bright blue light surges from the ground as the spatial formation activates, forcibly separating everyone involved. Red explodes in rage, shouting that she is the only one being scolded even though Sophia stabbed her first. The Guardian snaps back that Red tried to kill her in retaliation. Red argues fiercely, pointing out that with his strength, he could have restrained her without hurting anyone, refusing to accept being blamed while forced to endure the attacks. Wei Yan steps between them, calming the situation and telling the man to take care of his daughter before continuing the discussion. Turning to Red with a composed smile, he informs her that his assistant has gone to retrieve her guardian and suggests that she receive treatment quietly in the meantime. Red snaps back, refusing to stay silent while her anger still boils. Lowering his voice, Wei Yan tells her that he saw everything and understands how she feels, but he cannot allow the situation to spiral further. Red looks at him with confusion and suspicion. Stepping closer, Wei Yan warns her plainly that if things escalate again, he will no longer be able to protect her, and that her entire family could be dragged into serious trouble. He casually mentions the Yu family, making it clear that he knows Red is not the only one here. His warning is gentle in tone, but sharp in meaning, implying that her friends could be hurt if she refuses to calm down. As Wei Yan finishes, Yuji-Tai's voice cuts in, telling him not to bother searching for her guardian because he has already arrived. Yuji-Tai steps through the barrier as if it doesn't exist, immediately scolding Wei Yan and telling him to stop pressuring an injured child and speak to him instead. Red looks up at Yuji-Tai with a mix of shock and relief, while Wei Yan stares in surprise at how effortlessly he crossed the cross space. The scene shifts to a luxurious office high above the city, where rare Taiwanese black tea is served. Wei Yan offers the tea with a diplomatic smile, suggesting it helps calm the nerves. Internally, he analyzes the situation, realizing that Tai passed through the spatial barrier without resistance, proof that he is an extremely high-ranking awakened. At the same time, he is puzzled, having never heard of the Yu family, and makes a mental note to investigate later. Tai, Wei Yan, and Sophia's guardian Mikhailov sit around the table. Wei Yan laughs nervously and apologizes to both guardians, explaining that neither girl suffered life-threatening injuries. Sophia is still undergoing treatment, while Red has already been discharged. He suggests closing the matter quietly, especially since the girls will continue seeing each other at the academy, and offers to handle everything if both sides agree. Mikhailov remains silent for a moment, then admits that the incident started on their side and introduces himself as Sophia's guardian, offering an apology. He explains that Sophia is still young and emotionally unstable, which caused her to lose control. Tai looks at him coldly and states flatly that he will not accept an apology delivered by another adult on the girl's behalf. Mikhailov leaps up in anger, but Tai calmly sips his tea, saying that an apology spoken through someone else carries no meaning. Furious, Mikhailov pounds his chest and calls Tai stubborn, demanding to know if he is acting tough simply because he doesn't understand who he is dealing with. Tai meets his glare and asks calmly whether this is how apologies work where he comes from. Enraged, Mikhailov demands whether Tai wants him to drag the injured girl here and force her to apologize personally. Tai responds without hesitation that if that is what he wants, then he should do it. The tension becomes suffocating as Wei Yan hurriedly tries to defuse the situation. Tai clarifies that he did not come for the girl at all, but to ask why Mikhailov failed to intervene when a child drew a real blade and attacked. Mikhailov shouts that everything happened too fast. Tai cuts him off, calling it a pathetic excuse and asking whether he feels any shame hiding behind a child to excuse his own failure. Mikhailov slams his foot into the floor and grabs Tai by the collar, warning him that he is being generous, but his patience has limits. Blue energy surges from his body as he threatens Tai, asking whether he truly wants to provoke the RIL organization in such a small country. He mocks the unknown Yu family for speaking so boldly. Then he freezes. Tai calmly remarks that Mikhailov's great sword was extremely sharp and that one wrong move earlier could have ended badly. Mikhailov looks down in horror to find Tai holding his personal dagger. Stunned, he demands to know when it was taken. Tai replies that the sheath was loose enough to remove it unnoticed, even while Mikhailov claimed to be fully alert. In the next instant, Tai appears behind him. Leaning close, he whispers a chilling warning into Mikhailov's ear about choosing crowded streets if he values his life. Tai places the dagger back onto the table and announces flatly that the matter is finished before turning to leave. Mikhailov stares after him, eyes wide with terror, while Wei Yan exhales deeply, feeling as though a catastrophe has just barely been avoided. Outside in the corridor, Tai finds Red waiting. He asks calmly whether she is all right. Walking beside him, she answers confidently that it's only a scratch and boasts about the toughness of the Red Dragon clan. Tai nods and says that's good. Then Red slows down, her expression shifting. She asks quietly whether he thinks she was wrong, admitting that everything spiraled out of control because of her. Scratching her head awkwardly, she says she was furious and felt wronged, but maybe she should have acted more maturely. Tai interrupts her with a serious expression, telling her she did nothing wrong. Red freezes in surprise. Then with cold certainty, he adds that next time she should simply finish it somewhere no one can see. Red's face lights up with a dangerous, satisfied grin. Realizing they are thinking the same way, she reminds him that he warned her not to regret it later. Tai answers without hesitation that he won't. Tai suddenly changes the subject and tells Red to pack her bags once they get home. She looks at him in surprise and asks where they are going, only for him to explain calmly that they will be moving into the dorms at Lair Academy. Red clicks her tongue, remembering with irritation how Gold, the yellow chick, had been chirping with excitement at the thought of living there. Before they can leave, a voice calls out to Guardian Tai, stopping them in their tracks. Both turn around to see Wei Yan approaching with his usual friendly smile, asking for a moment of their time. Tai responds coldly, saying he thought their discussion was already finished, but Wei Yan insists, explaining that there is something he strongly wishes to say and that it concerns the student, Red, as well. Red immediately complains, sticking a finger into her ear and openly stating how much she hates hearing more lectures. Wei Yan laughs it off and assures her that this time he is offering something good. He then drops the surprise, asking Red if she would like to become the freshman representative of the Blue Dragon Academy. He paints a bright future for her, explaining that she would become the public face of the academy, receive a massive scholarship, rare artifacts, and constant media exposure. Yuji Tai questions the offer, asking whether Wei Yan even has the authority to make such a proposal on his own. Wei Yan responds confidently, revealing that he is very close to the vice principal, Manam Jun. The moment that name is spoken, Yuji Tai's expression stiffens and darkens. Wei Yan urges Yuji Tai to think carefully, emphasizing that an opportunity like this will never come again. In that moment, Yuji Tai realizes the true reason behind Wei Yan's closeness to Vice Principal Manam Jun. Both of them are Majin, humans who accepted the abyss. Unlike superhumans blessed by divine authority, Majin are driven by blind rage, killing intent, and an uncontrollable urge to destroy humanity. Because of beings like them, the world once faced absolute ruin, and Yuji Tai lost irreplaceable things in his first and second lives. That is why, from the moment Wei Yan appeared, Yuji Tai had imagined killing him countless times in his mind. Yet he endured, again and again. Yuji Tai looks at Wei Yan with a deep, unreadable gaze, deciding silently that this man should carry far heavier burdens before meeting his end. Aloud, he calmly states that he understands what Wei Yan is saying, but reminds him that the opinion of the person involved matters most, since he is only a guardian in the end. Wei Yan laughs confidently, agreeing that the final choice belongs entirely to the student. Turning to Red, he speaks directly, explaining that major changes are coming to the Blue Dragon Academy and that he strongly wants her to lead them as the student representative during the year-end event. He takes Red's hand, his eyes filled with expectation, and asks her to help him shape the future together. Red shocks him by pulling her hand away and refusing flatly, her expression completely blank as she states that she doesn't want to. Wei Yan freezes, asking if he misheard, only for her to confirm coldly that he heard perfectly. Red turns toward Yuji Tai and suggests they go home to pack. Suppressing his anger, Wei Yan asks why she even came to the interview if she was going to refuse everything. Red answers indifferently that she was lying in her room, got bored, and decided to come pick a fight for entertainment. Veins visibly appear on Wei Yan's forehead as he struggles to contain his temper. He then asks Red to look down through the glass window. Below them, a massive crowd of journalists and reporters from various countries has gathered. Wei Yan explains calmly that they came to hear his opinion about the stabbing incident earlier that day. He makes his threat clear, telling her that her life and future within Lair depend entirely on a single word that comes out of his mouth now. Red turns her back on him without hesitation and states plainly that she still won't do it. She bids him farewell and walks away. Wei Yan glares at her retreating figure with dark hatred and mutters that he hopes she won't regret her choice. As Red exits the building, she is immediately recognized. Journalists swarm her like a flood, cameras flashing as they bombard her with questions about the Sofia Volova stabbing incident from 2 hours earlier. One reporter demands a comment, while another points out that the video has already gone viral in Korea, accusing her of creating chaos to revive her family name. More questions follow about why she applied to the Blue Dragon Academy and what she intends to do there. Clearly irritated, Red is about to ignore them, but Yuji Tai steps forward, telling the press to stop harassing an injured child. Red interrupts him, saying she'll answer since they want it so badly. She snatches a recorder from a stunned reporter and repeats their question aloud. Turning to the cameras, Red smiles widely, a terrifying, predatory smile, and states exactly what she wants. The scene abruptly shifts. Cherry blossoms fall gently in front of a luxurious residential building, their private dormitory inside Lair. Gold screams with pure joy, throwing her arms into the air. Inside the massive living room, she marvels at the size of the space, while Red wonders aloud if they really get to live somewhere this fancy. Gold bolts for the stairs, declaring that the best room will be hers. Red immediately chases after her, shouting that the biggest room belongs to her instead. Gold opens a door and freezes, her eyes sparkling as she takes in a sunlit bedroom with a huge bed, modern TV, and a wide window. She happily decides the room isn't bad and plans to use it well. Red suddenly steps in and casually claims that the balcony is perfect for smoking, meaning the room is now hers. Gold protests in disbelief, arguing that she chose it first and reminding Red that she said she wanted the biggest room, and the one next door is larger. Red shoots her a sharp glare that makes Gold immediately back down and agree to take the bigger room next door. Later, Green carefully sprays water over the large blue dragon egg, gently rubbing its shell and greeting it softly. Yuji-Tai asks why she is doing that, and she answers with a warm smile that it's like prenatal education, since blue dragons love water. She explains that when a dragon egg nears hatching, the polymorph spell naturally dissolves and the egg returns to its original size. Green then mentions that the dorm has been buzzing with talk about Red lately. Yuji-Tai pulls up a video on his device showing Red's interview and her blunt responses to reporters. The comments are split, some praising her courage and beauty, others mocking her harshly. Suddenly, a highlighted comment containing that word appears, and Green hurriedly covers the egg as if shielding its ears. Later, the girls gather in the living room. Red lounges on the sofa, muttering coldly about why humans make such a fuss over the word when they're literally born from it. Gold tilts her head and innocently asks what the word meant. Red looks at her with a wicked smile and asks if she really wants to know, declaring she should give the little chick some proper education. Gold immediately panics and retreats, insisting she doesn't need to know and claiming her mother warned her not to learn too much. Red corners her with a demonic grin, whispering that she has no right to refuse. She places her hands on Gold's head and begins terrifying her until Gold screams and surrenders, crying that she'll listen if Red just stops. Gold runs straight to Yuji-Tai in tears, begging him to save her from this humiliating situation. The scene shifts to the next morning, where Red is still sleeping deeply in her room. The door suddenly bursts open as Gold storms in, screaming about an emergency. Red jolts awake in pure irritation, cursing loudly and complaining about being dragged out of bed so early despite having stayed up all night. Gold anxiously asks if she was watching something strange again, only for Red to answer with a provoking grin that she had been watching porn, which leaves Gold completely stunned. Before Red can say anything else, Gold grabs her by the arm and drags her downstairs, insisting that this is no time for jokes. Red threatens death if this turns out to be meaningless, already bored and irritated as she wonders why everyone is gathering at dawn. Downstairs, she sees Green sitting beside a large egg, her expression tense and expectant as she announces that Blue is about to be born. Everyone's attention turns to the egg just as cracks spread across its surface and bright light spills out. Gold screams in excitement at the sight of a new life being born. At the same moment, Yuji-Tai's expression darkens as an old memory resurfaces, one where birth was surrounded by ruin instead of hope. He remembers a devastated battlefield, a woman gripping his hand and begging him to save her child, only for his companion to tell her it was already too late. The baby had stopped breathing the moment it was born. He recalls the destroyed hospital, the war-torn environment, and the helpless wish that there had been proper medical care nearby. The memory leaves his past self filled with sorrow. The scene returns to the present as Yuji-Tai stands with the three girls before the egg, wondering why such a painful memory resurfaced now. As the shell breaks further, Red notices movement, and a small blue claw pushes through. Moments later, a tiny head emerges, revealing a newborn blue dragon with wide, innocent eyes. Green smiles warmly and blesses the newborn, while Gold watches in awe, her eyes shining with admiration. The little dragon rubs her eye cutely, and her name is revealed as Ghoul Winter. Green gently wipes Blue's face and body with a towel. When Yuji-Tai asks if she learned to do that, Green explains that her mother used to care for her the same way, though originally she would lick her clean. Green offers Yuji-Tai the chance to hold Blue, but he quietly declines, saying he is fine. Gold immediately volunteers, and Green carefully hands Blue over, warning her that the baby's skin is still very soft. Gold hugs Blue gently, closing her eyes and murmuring that the feeling is comforting and healing. Blue's eye glints as she turns toward Red, who is sitting on the sofa, and Gold asks if she wants to hold her too. Before Red can respond, Gold suddenly pushes Blue toward her face, making Red panic and scream in shock. Green scolds Gold to be gentle, while Blue yawns cutely in Red's arms. Red stares down at the baby in silence until Gold smugly asks if she understands now why she wanted her to hold her. Red admits calmly that Blue is indeed cute. Red then turns toward Yuji-Tai and asks why everyone else has held Blue except him, with Gold adding that Blue might feel sad. Yuji-Tai remains silent. Red grins maliciously and accuses him of acting noble and arrogant, threatening to throw Blue so he will have to catch her. Gold screams in horror, asking if she has lost her mind. Red declares with a demonic smile that her goal since entering this house has been to see his stone face crack, and she tosses Blue into the air. Gold screams in terror, but Yuji Tai catches Blue effortlessly and calmly. Red clicks her tongue in disappointment, saying it wasn't fun, while Gold mutters that her sister is not normal. Green approaches Yuji Tai with a smile and suggests he pet Blue since he is already holding her. Yuji Tai hesitantly extends a finger and gently touches Blue's head, unsure if he is doing it right. Blue seems pleased, and Gold immediately starts taking photos, insisting that moments like this must be documented. Green suggests taking a group photo to celebrate Blue's birth and suddenly produces a red rose, surprising Gold. She winks and explains that they are just photo props. Green tucks the rose behind Yuji Tai's ear and places a small blue flower on Blue's head, while he freezes completely. Red laughs mockingly, Green praises how he looks, and Yuji Tai asks them to stop and just take the picture. Red complains that photography is embarrassing, but Gold drags her into the frame anyway. After the photo, Yuji Tai asks Green if it will be difficult to go outside while Blue is still in dragon form. Green explains that adult dragons like herself, Red, and Gold learned polymorph magic in their previous world, but Blue hasn't learned anything yet. Holding Blue tenderly, Green explains that dragons grow very fast, and she wants to give this child happy experiences and beautiful memories before she becomes too big. Yuji Tai immediately agrees to help if needed, though Green reminds him that he once said he wasn't skilled with magic. When he falls silent, Green makes a request, asking him to stay close while she performs the magic transfer for Blue. Yuji Tai agrees curtly, but Green teases him for standing so far away and insists he sit closer, arguing that she might get exhausted and accidentally drop Blue. She adds dramatically that she would never forgive herself if Blue's head hit the table. Yuji Tai stares at her expressionlessly before giving in and sitting beside her. As soon as he sits down, Green whispers shyly that it's hard. Yuji Tai looks at her in surprise, prompting her to clarify nervously that she meant the sofa is hard. He responds seriously that it's strange, given that it's made of high-quality materials. At that moment, Green begins the magic transfer, and a soft green aura surrounds her and Blue. Several days later, Green was sprawled across the sofa in a state of complete exhaustion, faint steam rising from her body as she weakly announced that it was finally over. Yuji Tai stood in front of her and praised her efforts, and she managed to return his words with a tired smile. Moving slowly, Green pushed herself up and headed toward her room, saying she needed to rest for a while. Before leaving, she reminded Yuji Tai to make sure Blue was fed and helped properly, asking him to wake her immediately if anything urgent happened. Midway to her room, her legs gave out from sheer fatigue. Before she could fall, Yuji Tai caught her effortlessly, steadying her collapsing body. Looking down at her calmly, he told her he would carry her to her room. Green's cheeks flushed bright red as she realized how close he was. He lifted her easily in his arms, carrying her princess style, which made her admit shyly that she felt embarrassed being held like this. Yuji Tai commented that she still had enough energy left to joke, and she laughed softly before asking if she was heavy. He replied simply that she was light, earning a quiet, pleased reaction from her. He laid her gently on the bed, covered her properly, and left the room once she fell into a deep sleep. As soon as he closed the door, he felt unfamiliar ripples of blue mana spreading through the living room. Stepping out, he saw the room bathed in bright blue light. When the glow faded, a small girl with long blue hair was sitting on the sofa, staring at her hands in wonder. Yuji Tai watched her silently for a moment before greeting her, his voice unusually careful. The scene then shifts to the Lair District Police Station, where colleagues spoke with admiration about Yuji Tai's recent achievements. In only a few days, he had captured criminals that the Supernatural Crime Unit had failed to apprehend for months. One coworker enthusiastically invited him to celebrate with an expensive meal, calling him the pride of the station, only for another to laugh and point out that he planned to use the company card anyway. Yuji Tai declined the invitation, saying he still had work to do, which annoyed them. As he left, they joked loudly about how punctual he had become lately, suspicious that he might have a secret girlfriend. Yuji Tai denied it with his usual rigid expression and walked away as they shouted after him, demanding honesty if he simply disliked spending time with them. After finishing work, Yuji Tai headed home. At one point, he passed a young girl on the street, who turned out to be the Archduke of Shadows, the entity currently acting in his place. This power had once belonged to a demon duke who used it to dominate distant lands, but after Yuji Tai killed that duke, it became his subordinate. The shadow entity reached the park and froze upon seeing Yuji Tai, approaching him with deep respect and confirming it had arrived at his summons. The shadow noticed something odd and asked what Yuji-Tai was holding. Yuji-Tai replied calmly that it was Blue, explaining she had just finished getting her hair cut and had transformed into her human form. A passing woman smiled warmly, commenting on how quiet the child was in her father's arms and how well they suited each other. The shadow offered to carry the child instead, but Blue suddenly glared at it with sharp hostility, startling the entity. Yuji-Tai declined the offer and placed Blue gently on the ground, pointing out that she could walk on her own. The shadow asked why Green, Red, or Gold were not taking care of her. Yuji-Tai explained that Green was bedridden with a fever caused by the backlash of the magic transfer. While the other two had caused enough chaos to convince him, they were not ready for responsibility. Gold insisting on shopping and Red smoking while refusing to speak to anyone. Understanding the situation, the shadow waited as Yuji-Tai turned serious and confronted it directly, reminding it that he already knew what it was thinking since all its memories flowed back to him. The shadow admitted its confusion. In previous eras, its masters used it only for slaughter, suppression, and enforcement, never for something as mundane as daily life. It found Yuji-Tai's current priorities difficult to understand and apologized if its doubts were disrespectful. Yuji-Tai reassured it calmly, acknowledging its awareness and promising that it would soon be given a proper mission. Until then, he ordered it to continue working normally and even told it to go drink with its coworkers, hinting that it would soon part ways with them. The shadow bowed deeply and departed. Yuji-Tai then noticed a mother and daughter nearby, the child happily celebrating a new doll. He realized Blue had been staring at it the entire time. Understanding her silent longing, he asked if she wanted a doll. Her eyes widened in surprise. Opening a dark spatial rift, he pulled out a blue teddy bear nearly as large as she was and offered it to her. Blue hugged it shyly, her cheeks glowing with happiness. When he asked if she liked it, she unexpectedly set the bear down and walked away. Confused, Yuji-Tai picked her up again, thinking she was dissatisfied, and told her he had no more. Instead of responding, Blue gently touched his cheek and rested her forehead against his. Yuji-Tai froze, surprised by the gesture. His thoughts drifted briefly to Green lying sick in bed and to old memories of war, bloodshed, and dragons from his past lives. When he returned to the present, Blue's innocent gaze met his, and for the first time in a long while, a calm smile appeared on his face. Blue smiles as they continue walking together. Yuji-Tai holds her small hand, and the two move peacefully under the glow of the setting sun while Blue drags her new doll behind her. Yuji-Tai suddenly stops and exhales quietly, as if sensing someone approaching, wondering if they have already arrived, while Blue looks up at him with a questioning expression. Gold appears out of nowhere, waving enthusiastically and calling out to him as she runs over and hugs Blue tightly. Yuji-Tai asks where she went, and Gold explains that she took a quick trip to the shopping district, adding that Blue thinks he is kind. Blue looks surprised by her sister's sudden hug and quietly murmurs that she must be happy to receive a gift from the master. Yuji-Tai asks in amazement whether Gold can read Blue's thoughts, and Gold explains that dragons can transmit emotions and thoughts through skin contact, not just mana, with forehead contact being the most effective. Yuji-Tai recalls the moment Blue touched his face and realizes that she had been trying to express her feelings that way, admitting to himself that he hadn't known that. Gold laughs and jokes that there are still things even he doesn't know. Yuji-Tai notices the large bag on Gold's back and asks about it. Smiling, Gold pulls out a new guitar and asks if this is what he meant, explaining enthusiastically that she bought it to convey her soul and emotions to others without physical contact. She strikes a pose and asks if she looks like a singer, then begins playing and singing cheerfully in the middle of the street, promising that she will work very hard. Yuji-Tai watches Gold silently as she plays, memories from his past surfacing, medical tools and syringes scattered beside a guitar, Gold sitting exhausted with blood staining her hands and clothes, empty bottles strewn around her. He looks at her with mixed concern and pity, realizing the depth of the suffering she endured, before returning to the present and seeing her press the strings with injured fingers as smoke rises faintly from them. Noticing her trembling hand, Yuji-Tai calmly advises her not to push herself too hard. Gold is surprised and asks why, but he tells her to take things slowly as he prepares to leave with Blue. She replies that she still wants to do her best. Yuji-Tai then asks about Green, and Gold answers regretfully that Green is still asleep and her fever hasn't gone down, while Blue holds Yuji-Tai's hand and explains that it's inevitable since Green exhausted herself using magic for several days in a row. He asks about Red next, and Gold says thoughtfully that Red hasn't left her room all day because she's completely hooked on watching dramas. Tai reflects that her fixation on something other than fighting is a positive change and better than her causing trouble outside. He tells Blue to wash her hands as soon as they get home, and Gold agrees, taking Blue with her. As Gold wonders whether Green has woken up, Tai suddenly places a hand on her shoulder, his expression turning serious. He orders Gold sternly to take Blue and go straight to her room, warning her not to come out until he gives permission. Shocked by his sudden tone, Gold asks why, but he repeats the order with a single sharp word. Frightened, Gold agrees and quickly pulls Blue along. Tai slowly opens Green's room door, his eyes darkening as he looks inside. The room is filled with armored knights surrounding the sleeping Green, their eyes glowing in the dim light. One of the fully armored knights turns toward Tai and demands to know if he is the one who did this to the Green Dragon. These intruders are guardians, knights, and enslaved protectors bound by subjugation magic to guard dragon nests, with a few elite individuals acting as personal bodyguards for young ones who venture out. Tai looks at Green and suspects she has been put under sleep magic. The knight stomps forward aggressively, demanding an explanation. Tai coldly remarks that the knight should have introduced himself before entering someone else's home, but the knight retorts that only the strong have the right to ask questions. A terrifying black energy erupts from him as he declares that he alone will question Tai, calling him a lowly human. Tai notices the high-level protective barrier surrounding the area as the knight gives a final warning and insists on knowing what happened to Green. Tai's expression settles as he calmly explains that Blue was born and that Green collapsed from exhaustion after teaching polymorph and magic transfer. The armored knight demands to know who Tai is to stand so boldly before them, and Tai answers without hesitation that he is their guardian, which draws mocking laughter. The knight sneers, questioning whether a human can truly understand the beings he claims to protect, and Tai replies with a sharp gaze that he understands very well, which is why he has a question of his own. He asks why they arrived so early, pointing out that they were supposed to be dispersed through a distant dimensional rift. Shock ripples through the knights as they realize he knows far more than he should. Their leader announces that they are guardians of children and keepers of causal history, acknowledging that Tai protected the children in their absence, but declaring that he is far from a good person and that leaving him alive may cause trouble later. Tai proposes resolving the matter through conversation, but the leader rejects the idea outright and swings his massive weapon down from above, assuring him that he won't feel any pain. While the remaining knights launch a treacherous attack from behind, the combined strike erupts in a massive explosion as purple energy surges upward, yet Tai stands unmoving. The leader freezes in shock when his weapon, the horse sword, is blocked effortlessly by Tai using the SS-rank formless sword. In a flash, Tai counters and cleanly severs the knight's hand. The leader crashes to the ground, screaming in agony. Another knight curses him as a pathetic fool for falling to such a simple move. The rest roar in fury, vowing to kill this human as swords and spears converge on Tai from every direction. But terror suddenly grips the leader as he realizes the truth. This human is far stronger than any of them anticipated. In the next instant, the knights are hurled through the air like broken dolls, their armor shattered and weapons reduced to scrap under Tai's overwhelming power. When the dust settles, Tai stands alone at the center of the room, now nothing more than a junkyard of broken armor and defeated bodies. The leader lies on the ground, staring at him in absolute terror. He admits to himself that something felt wrong from the very beginning. The idea of an ordinary human caring for infant dragons and knowing of their existence was completely illogical. Too late, he realizes he should have trusted his instincts. The being before him is no ordinary human. In his heart, he acknowledges Tai as an absolute, transcendent existence that should never have been challenged. Tai meets his gaze with dark, chilling eyes. Tai steps closer to the trembling leader and reminds him calmly that he was the one who suggested talking first. The leader, shaking, asks whether this world is under Tai's rule. Tai cuts him off sharply, ordering him to answer only one question. He demands to know how the knight survived, stating clearly that something must have gone wrong within the dimension. The leader finally yields and explains that the cause was a dimensional distortion. Their master had opened a passage linking the nest to this world, but the dimension twisted unexpectedly, ejecting them at random instead of delivering them properly. Tai presses for details. The leader admits he does not know everything, but recalls his master once mentioning something called the horizon of providence, explaining that space itself warps around the power generated from it. Tai senses something is wrong. No such distortion had ever appeared in his previous regressions. He wonders what the horizon of providence truly is, confirming that it is a concept he has never encountered throughout his long existence. With growing concern, Tai realizes that this timeline contains far too many new variables, including the unprecedented arrival of a guardian tied to the green lineage. Tai demands to know the connection between the horizon of providence and their arrival, asking whether it played a role in bringing them here. The leader confirms it did. He explains that a specific will beyond the horizon guided him, leading him through the dimensional vortex. He claims he merely followed that will to gather the guardians and locate the children. Suspicious, Tai reaches for the knight's helmet and mutters that he needs confirmation. He orders the knight to look directly into his eyes and activates the SS rank Eyes of Balance, one of the 3 great authorities he seized from the Archduke of the Demon World. Truth and falsehood separate instantly. The knight is not lying. Tai clenches his jaw in frustration, recalling how he eliminated countless threats to prevent anomalies like this. Yet unknown forces continue to surface. When asked about the entity beyond the horizon, the knight describes it as malicious and resentful, feeling more like a curse than a guide. He suggests it may be reacting to the essence derived from the green lineage. Without warning, Tai strikes the knight with crushing force, sending him crashing to the ground. A strange glow leaks from the armor, and Tai immediately recognizes it. The authority of the grandfather clock activates, analyzing the distorted flow of time. Golden chains erupt and coil around the knight as the authority searches for hostile elements and condenses them into a single mass, rejecting everything that has deviated from the world's original timeline. The system announces that the authority of the grandfather clock will henceforth treat all elements originating outside the timeline, or possessing separate timelines, as hostile entities to be examined with extreme precision. Tai looks at the glowing hourglass resting in his hand, realizing that the authority, which had previously only activated during time regression, has now begun to intervene on its own. Acknowledging that there is nothing he can do at the moment, he chooses to wait as the clock slowly fades from his grasp. The remaining knights whisper among themselves, unsettled by the strange light that transformed into a clock, wondering if the situation has finally ended. Tai turns toward them with his weapon still in hand and asks what they intend to do next, stating calmly that he is already taking responsibility for the children and that there is no reason for them to remain. He adds that the subjugation magic binding them through the dimensional distortion should now be nullified, leaving them free to depart. The knights ask in disbelief whether he truly intends to let them go. Tai answers coldly that he does not care, as long as they leave without causing further trouble. After a brief hesitation, the knights begin to withdraw one by one. However, just as they prepare to leave, the knight leader staggers forward and declares that he cannot go. The room falls silent. Tai turns back in surprise as the leader explains that he is a guardian of causal history. Before he can finish speaking, Tai strikes him down with a single brutal punch, knocking him flat. Tai places his foot firmly on the fallen knight and asks again, in a threatening voice, whether he will leave. The knight, gasping in pain, insists that he cannot. Tai increases the pressure, crushing the knight's chest beneath his foot as the knight screams. One final time, Tai asks if he will leave. With glowing eyes beneath his helmet, the knight answers with unwavering resolve that he cannot abandon the children. Tai looks toward the other knights. One of them remarks that their leader will never listen, while another mocks him as a fool incapable of grasping freedom even when it is handed to him. With that, they turn away and leave him behind. Tai remains silent for a moment, then exhales softly and accepts the situation with a single word. Addressing the knight still pinned to the floor, he remarks that such stubbornness and endurance are at least qualities suitable for a guardian. He then eliminates the remaining knights without hesitation. The knight leader, stunned, wonders if Tai had merely been testing them. Tai denies this calmly, nodding instead that this knight is different from the others. Curious, he asks what drives him to remain so devoted to the green lineage. The knight kneels respectfully and answers that his loyalty has never wavered. Tai acknowledges the strength of that loyalty, but reminds him that he is already protecting her. He points out the vast difference in their strength and asks what role the knight believes he can serve in Tai's presence. A faint smile crosses Tai's face as he tells him there is one position that suits him perfectly. The scene shifts to the hall where red, gold, and blue are gathered. Tai gestures for the knight to greet them and introduces him calmly as the newly appointed janitor. The knight stands frozen, clad in full armor and a pink kitchen apron, silently questioning every life choice that led him to this moment. The knight later appears in the kitchen, washing dishes with complete seriousness while wearing pink rubber gloves. He lets out a long sigh that reflects the frustration of his new reality. His mind drifts back to the moment he confronted Tai, who was seated at his computer. He had demanded to know what Tai meant by calling him a janitor and whether this was some kind of joke. He had voiced his confusion, unable to understand how protecting Blue was in any way connected to cleaning duties, insisting that it made no sense. Tai had responded coldly, reminding him that he had already said he alone was enough to protect Blue, and that this position had been created specifically so the knight could remain there. Tai's expression had then turned terrifying as he warned him that if he could not even master the job of a janitor, he would be completely annihilated, ordering him to perform his work properly. The knight snaps back to the present and resumes washing dishes in silence, bitterly wondering how a once majestic knight commander had ended up as a dishwasher. Green enters the kitchen wearing comfortable clothes and asks if he is the guardian from Ascalia. The knight panics slightly and asks about her condition, instinctively calling her the Green before quickly correcting himself. Green reassures him with a bright smile that it is only a mild cold. When he asks why she is in the kitchen, she explains that she heard he would be working here as a janitor. Green compliments him gently, saying the apron suits him and looks good on him. The knight freezes, completely flustered. She then asks him shyly to take good care of them from now on as Mr. Janitor. Behind his iron helmet, the knight blushes deeply, touched by her kindness despite the humiliation of his role. Overcome with emotion, he suddenly crushes the plate in his hand and loudly swears that Green's hands will never touch water again and that everything will be left to Armada. Green looks down at the shattered plate and calmly remarks, with mild regret, that it was very expensive. In another scene filled with warmth, Blue appears wearing different outfits, sometimes a blue bear suit, sometimes a school uniform with a yellow bag, and other times a gothic dress, while photos are taken from every angle. Gold enthusiastically takes pictures with her phone, overflowing with happiness as she praises how irresistibly cute Blue is. Gold asks Green curiously when she bought so many beautiful clothes for Blue. Green answers proudly that she ordered them as soon as she recovered, then asks Blue for her opinion. Blue sways from side to side happily while hugging her blue teddy bear, unable to hide her shy smile. Gold turns to the janitor and asks which outfit he thinks is the prettiest. He answers tactfully that Miss Blue looks beautiful in anything she wears. Gold praises him for his smooth words, impressed. Tai watches the exchange silently while Green laughs softly, remarking that the man is surprisingly good at social interaction. Tai suddenly points out sharply that Gold is still playing the guitar, which immediately makes her tense. Gold tries to deny it, claiming she only plays lightly, but Green intervenes while combing Blue's hair, telling Tai not to be so harsh and explaining that Gold truly loves it. Tai denies being harsh and changes the subject, asking about Red, who has not appeared all day, guessing she is still watching dramas in her room. The knight hesitates before admitting that he tried to clean Red's room earlier but was kicked out. He adds that her complexion was extremely pale and she looked unwell. Green smiles nervously and says it is probably because she stayed up all night. Tai falls silent, visibly irritated, and decides to check for himself. He opens Red's door and is immediately hit by the smell of smoke. The room is filled with cigarette butts and empty drink cans. Red sits on the floor in loungewear, holding a can and chewing dried squid. She looks at him indifferently and asks if he came to check whether she was still alive. Tai notices the large TV and asks if she has been watching the same series the entire time. She confirms it. When he suggests watching something else, she refuses. As a scene plays, Red loudly criticizes the plot and the poor combat accuracy of the show. Tai suggests she stop watching, and she replies sarcastically, calling him a genius. Tai orders her firmly to come out because he wants to talk. She looks at him in surprise. Soon after, Yuji Tai gathers everyone in the living room, holding Blue on his lap, and announces seriously that they will begin a full-scale cleaning campaign. The three girls sat on the sofa with the Guardian standing behind them, while Gold stared in shock, wondering why this sudden decision for a deep cleaning had been made. Yuji Tai scolded them coldly, saying that even if they were not human, they still had to live like humans as long as they stayed on Earth. His words were directed clearly at Red and Gold, whose rooms were infamous for their filth. Gold panicked and protested, asking when he had entered her room at all, arguing that her mother had taught her never to enter another person's nest without permission. Green responded with a sly smile, asking whether her mother had also forgotten to teach her to clean her room before living in it. That made Gold stammer before shouting that this was not the point. Yuji Tai then distributed tasks with authority. The janitor was assigned to clean the living room and kitchen, while each of the girls was ordered to clean her own room. Red complained loudly, calling it madness and asking what the point of cleaning was when they already had a janitor. Gold, sitting beside her, looked openly disgusted by her attitude. Suddenly, Red wiped her dirty finger across Gold's face, saying she had extracted that especially for her. Gold screamed in horror and disgust, jumping up and shouting that she hated dirty things. Red laughed mockingly and pointed out that despite hatting filth, Gold was still being scolded for her own dirty room. Bored, Red stood up and ordered the Guardian, whom she mockingly called Shorty, to clean her room because she was going to exercise. The Guardian accepted with complete obedience. Green also tried to slip away, saying she had cleaned her room yesterday and would go buy ingredients for dinner instead. Gold was left crying alone on the sofa, justifying that the family had grown and she needed to make an effort. Yuji Tai calmly agreed to Green's suggestion, but then suddenly remembered the previous cooking disaster, fish stuck upright in purple rice, and his expression shifted into pure shock and horror at the thought of Green cooking again. Green, smiling brightly, asked if there was anything specific he wanted to eat. He answered briefly that she should choose whatever she liked, and she agreed happily. The scene shifted to Red's room, which had turned into a complete dump. The janitor stood frozen, holding a broom while staring at a sea of empty cans and cigarette butts. Swallowing hard, he muttered that even the demon world was more merciful than this mess, and finally understood the reason behind Red's pale complexion and bad skin. He bent down and stared at a planter filled entirely with cigarette butts instead of plants, wondering in disbelief if she was secretly training poison resistance. As he began cleaning, carefully collecting bottles and cans, Yuji Tai's shadow copy appeared behind him in a police uniform and stopped him sharply, warning that this was not the right way. Pointing at the metal can in his hand, the copy lectured him about separating metal from plastic and criticized him for not knowing basic cleaning rules. The copy mocked whether recycling even existed in Ascalia, calling it primitive. The Guardian froze, noticing the demonic aura around the figure and realizing this was not the real Yuji Tai, but his copy. The copy noticed his hesitation and glared, demanding to know if he planned to space out all night. Trembling, the Guardian bowed and apologized, realizing that the pressure and presence of the copy alone could make anyone believe it was the original. At that moment, Yuji Tai himself opened the door and saw his copy scolding the Guardian. The copy stiffened and greeted its master. It justified itself by saying it was merely correcting the janitor's improper cleaning methods. Yuji Tai calmly told it to stop lecturing and help instead, explaining that he had summoned it because cleaning Red's room would be too much work for one person. The deep cleaning campaign began in earnest. Red exercised, Green went shopping, Gold played with Blue, and Yuji Tai, his copy, and the Guardian worked together to clean the massive mess until sunset. After everything was finished, the copy stood before Yuji Tai, who sat behind his desk, and reported that the mission was complete. Yuji Tai praised it, then pulled up a map on the screen, pointing to Moscow, Russia. He explained that a mage organization called Invisibility was conducting experiments on transcendent-type mages there, displaying images of test tubes containing strange creatures and humans. He ordered the copy to finish police duties this week, and then head to Russia to locate a command-type transcendent mage known as Prototype X. The copy accepted immediately and began preparations. Just then, Green peeked in with a wide smile and announced her return. The Guardian welcomed her, while Gold asked in shock why she had bought such a massive amount of groceries. Green answered cheerfully that the family had grown, so more food was needed. The copy tried to slip away quietly, but Yuji Tai grabbed its shoulder and ordered it to stop. With a dark, serious expression, he told the copy to switch clothes with him immediately. The scene shifted to the dinner table, where Green's voice rang out, inviting everyone to eat. The dishes looked terrifying, purple soup emitting suspicious fumes with whole fish stuck upright in it. The girls tasted the food. Blue expressed fascination, saying the taste reminded her of Escalia. Red commented that it was not bad. Gold wished the janitor could eat with them, but Red mocked her, pointing out that he could not eat because of his helmet. The copy of Yuji Tai, now wearing home clothes, sat at the table with sweat pouring down his face as he stared at the disastrous dish, realizing bitterly that his master had forced him to stay behind solely to suffer through this meal in his place. Outside, the real Yuji Tai stood alone in a formal suit in the dark garden, silent, having successfully saved himself from that fate. The scene shifted to an abandoned factory zone near Lair. Heavy, uneven breathing echoed through the ruined space as blood pooled across the floor between scattered corpses. Inside the factory, a demon screamed wildly, his face drenched in blood as he hurled curses at Yuji Tai, threatening him with grim consequences. He shouted madly, demanding whether this human truly understood who was backing him, his voice cracking as Yuji Tai restrained him without emotion. In response, Yuji Tai sliced off the demon's hands without hesitation. The demon slammed into the ground, writhing in pain. Calmly, Yuji Tai stated that he was fully aware of who stood behind him. He grabbed the demon's hair and forced his head up, revealing the name with cold certainty. Wei Yan, the professor from the Blue Dragon dorms, known in truth as a demon of the organization Invisibility. Pressing his blade against the demon's throat, Yuji Tai questioned what Wei Yan was truly planning. Activating his SS rank Eyes of Balance, he warned the demon that deception was pointless and ordered him to speak honestly. Terror flooded the demon's expression. Trembling uncontrollably, he admitted that he didn't know every detail, but revealed that Wei Yan had promised him a seat if the plan succeeded within 3 months. The demon explained that a seat meant becoming one of the 4 elite demons within Invisibility. Those chosen gained personal legions and ascended to disaster-level power. Yuji Tai fell silent, sensing something deeply wrong. In none of his previous regressions had Wei Yan ever reached a seat, nor should he have possessed the strength to organize something of this scale so early. At that moment, the Grandfather Clock Authority reacted. A hostile presence was detected beyond the horizon of Providence. The authority began scanning for deviations from causality, and the system immediately identified the source, Demon Wei Yan. A warning followed. Interference from an entity outside the timeline had been confirmed, one harboring hostility toward the regression process itself. Wei Yan had broken free from the cycle, becoming a singularity, carrying the combined power and traits of all his past lives. Yuji Tai instantly understood the danger. First the Guardians, now Wei Yan, too many foreign variables had appeared. This meant there was now an enemy capable of interfering directly with his path. The scene returned to the demon collapsed on the floor, shaking in fear. He begged desperately, insisting this was everything he knew, pleading to be spared so he could provide more information. In panic, he fabricated a story about a sick mother waiting for him, swearing loyalty. Yuji Tai did not hesitate. In a single motion, he struck, severing the demon's head. Looking down with glowing eyes, he reminded the corpse that he had already warned him. Lies were meaningless. Activating incineration, he reduced the body to ash, nodding that even if the demon had spoken truthfully, his fate would not have changed. Later, Yuji Tai walked through the campus, fountains and trees passing by as he analyzed the situation. If Wei Yan's scheme was large enough to grant him a seat, it had to involve Lair itself. His thoughts returned to Wei Yan's attempt to make Red the student representative at the year-end banquet. The pieces connected. That event was the core of the plan. The scene shifted to a quiet park. From a distance, Yuji Tai watched 2 students standing near Green and Gold, speaking excitedly while admiring the small child holding a teddy bear. One student asked for the child's name. Green smiled gently and replied that her name was Yu Gul. The student complimented the name, saying it matched her hair perfectly, and asked her age. Suddenly, both students noticed Yuji Tai standing behind them. His presence alone froze them in place. With an icy gaze, he asked whether they needed something from the child. Startled and frightened, the students quickly denied it and hurried away. Yuji Tai sat beside Green on the bench. She asked where he had been all day. He replied quietly that he had taken care of some matters. Green then mentioned Gold, explaining she had been sick and couldn't spend much time with Blue, gesturing toward Gold near the fountain. She sighed softly, nodding that school would begin tomorrow and moments like this would soon become rare. Turning to Yuji-tai, Green smiled warmly and asked whether they didn't look like a real family now. With playful seriousness, she assigned roles, declaring Blue the daughter and herself the mother. She glanced at him with a shy, teasing look, subtly implying that this would naturally make him the father. Yuji-tai met her gaze in silence, his expression completely unreadable. Green suddenly burst into laughter, covering her mouth as she told him she was only joking and asked why he always had to be so serious. He replied coolly that if she was going to keep saying nonsense, she should just go back home. Behind him, Green smiled to herself while watching Yuji-tai walk away carrying Blue, quietly muttering that teasing him had been fun. The next morning arrived under clear spring skies as students streamed toward the academy. Gold ran ahead with a slice of toast clenched between her teeth, radiating excitement about finally starting school. Green walked beside her, asking which classes she had chosen and hoping their schedules might overlap. Gold happily listed her subjects: superhuman studies, literature, and magic. Green suddenly stopped her, asking in disbelief why she still had toast in her mouth when she had already eaten breakfast. Gold laughed sheepishly and explained that Green wouldn't understand classic story cliches. Her mother had once told her that if she ran to school with toast in her mouth and bumped into someone at a corner, that person would become her destined partner. As she spoke, a dramatic image of a handsome dragon flashed through her imagination. Right at that moment, Gold crashed into someone. A familiar red-haired girl appeared, wearing a lazy, amused smile. Red whispered that it was quite the coincidence to meet here. Then, with sharp sarcasm, she asked if this meant she was Gold's destined partner. Gold screamed in horror, shouting that they were both girls. Red casually replied that she had seen American dramas where girls did that too, then calmly pulled the toast out of Gold's mouth, leaving Gold clutching her heart in despair. Changing the topic, Red asked where the old man Yuji-tai was, mentioning that he had said he would observe their classes but went to the faculty office instead. She added lazily that maybe he had gone to meet a woman since he hadn't returned home the previous night. Green froze on the spot. Her face stiffened, sweat forming instantly as she hurriedly tried to deny it. Gold looked at her in concern and asked if she was sick, pointing out that she was sweating like crazy. Suddenly, camera flashes erupted nearby. Gold noticed a growing crowd, and Red quickly realized they were reporters who had come to photograph the Academy's new stars. As the three stood together, whispers spread among the students. Fingers pointed toward Red, recognizing her as the student who had utterly crushed Sophia and made that infamous statement. The journalists quickly identified the red-haired girl. Remembering the previous chaos, Red clicked her tongue in irritation. The reporters rushed forward, shoving microphones at her face and shouting questions, demanding she say something. Gold shrank back nervously, asking what was wrong with these people. Finally, Red's patience snapped. She bared her teeth and unleashed a thunderous roar, ordering them to shut their damn mouths. An instant, suffocating silence fell over the area. With cold fury, Red called them trash, asking whether her last answer hadn't been clear enough. She threatened that if they wanted more, she could deal with them one by one. Raising a finger toward them with a savage smile, she dared anyone to step forward. The scene shifts back to the house. Blue sits alone on the floor, holding her doll, staring toward the door with a dull and empty expression. The janitor peeks at her from a distance and feels a quiet sense of regret, realizing that taking care of a child is far more troublesome than any cleaning task. With everyone else gone, the guardian recalls Yuji-tai's words before leaving. He had clearly told him that the children would be at school, and that he himself wouldn't be home either, leaving Blue entirely in his care for the day and ordering him to look after her properly. The guardian feels an overwhelming pressure settle on him, admitting inwardly that this responsibility is far harder than mopping floors or washing dishes. Blue continues to watch him silently, clutching her doll. Trying to break the heavy silence, he nervously addresses her as Miss Blue, politely suggesting that she wait somewhere comfortable until the others return in the evening. She looks at him briefly, says nothing, then turns her face away with obvious disinterest, completely ignoring his suggestion. Sweat begins to drip inside the guardian's helmet as embarrassment and tension suffocate him. He lets out a long, helpless sigh and decides to retreat, convincing himself that cleaning would be easier than facing this silence. After a while, he returns with a new idea and gently asks whether she would like to read a picture book together. Blue's eyes suddenly light up with interest, shining brightly. The Guardian feels a wave of relief that at least books manage to get a reaction. He sits down on the floor across from her and opens the book. The title reads, "Dad is a Fairy," accompanied by a cute illustration of a father and daughter with wings. He begins reading aloud, starting with "Long ago, deep within the forest." But in his mind, that forest immediately turns into a terrifying primeval land filled with monsters from before the Demon World era. When the story mentions that Dal Suni lived there with her father, the Guardian grimly assumes the mother must already be dead, concluding that surviving such a time was a miracle in itself. As he reads on, his imagination paints the father and daughter as terrifyingly muscular figures. The text says the father told his daughter old stories every night, which the Guardian interprets as war tales filled with blood and battlefields. With complete seriousness, he concludes that the child Dal Suni must be obsessed with war, causing Blue to stare at him with clear suspicion. When the story says that one morning Dal Suni woke up and her father was gone, the Guardian immediately assumes the man went searching for a new wife, imagining the brutal custom of capturing women after war. He even adds that Dal Suni must be happy to gain a new mother, while his imagination shows a screaming woman being dragged away. At that point, the Guardian turns to Blue to continue, only to find her glaring at him in anger, a dark aura surrounding her. He realizes too late that he has completely ruined the story. Confused, he asks if she didn't like it. In response, Blue quietly points toward the corner of the room. The Guardian looks where she is pointing and soon finds himself sitting alone in that corner, knees pulled to his chest, utterly defeated. Meanwhile, Blue lies comfortably on the floor, humming softly while reading the picture book on her own. The scene shifts outside the academy. A luxurious black car pulls up and a driver steps out to open the door. A beautiful young woman steps out, Juhai, the heir of the Gong clan, one of Korea's 3 great sword families. However, her attention is focused far more on skincare than sword training. As she applies makeup, she complains loudly about training, saying sweat ruins her appearance. She notices a massive crowd of reporters and photographers gathered near the entrance and arrogantly assumes they are waiting for her, wondering if her popularity has reached such heights. Her secretary, Kim, nervously tries to explain that he doesn't think they're here for her. She snaps at him in disbelief, demanding to know what he means. Annoyed and curious, she pushes past a photographer and soon finds her answer. Gold and Red have just arrived, and even Juhai can't help but admit their beauty is overwhelming. What truly shocks Gold, however, is seeing Red sitting calmly on the back of a male student who is crawling on all fours like a human chair. When Gold asks why, Red answers indifferently that the student was the one who asked for it. The student trembles while nodding eagerly, admitting that he is her fan and that he truly doesn't mind at all. Red looks down at him with open disdain, calling his words meaningless nonsense. She immediately takes control of the press, announcing that each reporter is allowed only one question and warning that she will leave instantly if anyone breaks the rule. She points at a journalist wearing a hat, who begins introducing himself enthusiastically as a representative from Taiwanese public broadcasting. Red cuts him off mid-sentence, telling him his introduction is too long, and moves on to the next person, leaving him frozen without having asked anything. A French journalist asks how it feels to become the center of attention in the supernatural world lately. Red casually picks her nose and replies that it feels filthy before pointing to someone else. Another reporter asks about the fan club that was recently formed for her. In response, she stomps hard on the back of the human chair beneath her, calling them all a bunch of lunatics. A chubby journalist with glasses steps forward and asks about the meaning of the words she shouted at the Blue Dragon dormitory interview site. Red looks at him with disgust, saying he already knows the answer, then mocks the smell of foot sweat coming from him. The journalist presses on, asking why she chose such vulgar wording in particular, stepping closer with an unpleasant smile and hinting that there might be other intentions behind it. Red leans toward him with a bold, taunting smile and quietly asks if he wants to do it with her, leaving the journalist momentarily confused. Her expression then sharpens instantly as she reminds him that he knows she's joking and asks why he's still dragging things out. The journalist bares his teeth and replies that journalism is a dirty profession, adding that if she cooperates nicely, he can be nice as well. Red grabs his shirt tightly, warning him that her patience has limits, while Gold hurriedly tries to de-escalate the situation. Noticing the camera recording, the journalist decides to push further for attention. With a sly smile, he whispers that if she keeps being stubborn, he'll write the article however he wants, even threatening a headline claiming she propositioned him, daring her to say whatever she likes. Red's anger finally explodes. She screams that she'll kill him with her bare hands and swings a powerful punch toward his face as Gold screams in panic. Before the blow can land, a strong hand appears and blocks it effortlessly. Tai arrives at the last second. Gold cheers in relief at her uncle's appearance, while he comments irritably that trouble seems to follow them the moment he shows up. Red shouts furiously, insisting the journalist is the one at fault. Without warning, Tai hoists Red over his shoulder like a sack, stunning her completely. She pounds his back with her fists, demanding to be put down, while he coldly announces that the interview is over. He turns his gaze toward the pale journalist and delivers a chilling warning, telling him not to turn this incident into an article. A crushing pressure radiates from Tai, overwhelming everyone nearby. Camera lenses crack under the force as the journalist collapses to the ground, having lost control of himself in sheer terror. Red looks down in shock, finally realizing the extent of Tai's power. He quickly leads the girls away from the crowd, urging Gold to hurry if she wants to make it to the first class. Nearby, Juhai watches in stunned silence, wondering aloud if her companion saw what just happened. The companion nervously suggests they investigate the family that girl belongs to. Juhai scoffs rudely, glancing at Gold's figure with open envy, muttering about how unfair it is and begrudgingly admitting the blonde girl's striking beauty. The scene shifts to the lecture hall, where Professor Kai stands with a composed and dignified presence, introducing himself as the instructor for swordsmanship. He explains that today's class will focus on the history of swordsmanship and the proper mindset one must have toward the sword. Red, seated beside Tai, immediately complains in open boredom, calling lessons about attitude meaningless and demanding that they be taught real combat instead. Tai glances at her in mild surprise, remarking that he expected her to leave in anger rather than stay. Red answers lazily that she is used to sitting through boring dramas until the very end. She then reveals her true reason for staying and training seriously. One day, she wants to crush that armored man, Javier, with her own hands. Red asks Tai why he chose to attend this particular class with her instead of following the other students. He replies calmly that she knows the answer better than anyone. Resting her chin on her hand, Red pretends to act innocent, claiming she has been keeping her temper in check and staying out of trouble lately. Tai reminds her flatly of her attempt to punch a journalist just moments earlier. Red clicks her tongue in irritation, arguing that the man provoked her and deserved it. She leans closer and casually rests her shoulder against Tai. He immediately tells her to move away, saying it's hot. Red smirks, teasing that men usually lose their minds over that kind of contact, and asks if he is shy. Tai ignores her completely. Red pouts childishly at his cold reaction and drops her head onto the desk, muttering that studying is boring. Tai tells her that studying is not meant to be fun, then clarifies that he is not talking about schoolwork, but about her. Red scoffs, saying even a kidnapper should at least be interesting. She admits that Tai didn't seem normal from the start either, and that she expected days filled with excitement and chaos. She adds that she never agreed to play family in such a dull way. Tai replies calmly that what happened on the way to school was stimulating enough. At that, Red's eyes light up with savage excitement as she declares that what she wants is fighting, killing, and the rush of victory, not trivial daily nonsense. Professor Kai notices Red's thirst for battle and smiles faintly. A strange green light flashes briefly in his eye as he mutters that he has a good remedy for that condition. He then orders Red and her guardian to remain after class. The scene shifts to the sports equipment storage room, where Red sits scrubbing wooden swords with visible frustration. She throws the cleaning cloth aside and snaps that the more she cleans, the angrier she becomes, shouting that she would rather be beaten than forced to clean. Tai tells her to stop complaining and keep wiping. Red suggests calling the janitor guardian from home, pointing out that he enjoys cleaning anyway. Tai asks her seriously who would take care of Blue in that case. Red looks away in annoyance and mutters that Blue is useless. Changing the subject, Red asks Tai if he studied properly when he was young. He answers while continuing to clean that he never had the time. Red laughs mockingly, calling him empty-headed and saying that no time sounds like an excuse. Yuji-tai replies calmly that he was busy staying alive because that era was a time of war. Red stops laughing and looks at him closely, asking if he is joking again and whether what he says is actually true. With a cigarette between her lips, she asks him directly if he finds life fun. Yuji-tai answers with emotionless eyes that life is not fun in the way she imagines. Red is taken aback, questioning the point of living such a dull life. She steps closer, saying that if she had his power, she would never live in boredom, mocking whether he suffers from burnout due to excessive strength. Yuji-tai lowers his gaze, answering quietly that life continues and he cannot abandon it. Red scoffs, calling his answer depressed teenager nonsense. Yuji-tai cuts her off coldly and tells her to stop talking and finish cleaning. Later, Red idly twists a Rubik's Cube while the janitor guardian cleans nearby. Green and Blue can be seen in the background playing with blocks. The guardian watches Red too closely, making her lose focus. The guardian quickly apologizes, stammering nervously as fear seeps into his voice. Red stretches out on the sofa in complete boredom, staring at the ceiling, while the guardian watches her with quiet pity. Sitting beside her, Green asks gently whether she is still upset because of the journalists from earlier that morning. Red dismisses it immediately, saying it has nothing to do with them. She explains that she is simply bored, frustrated by the lack of excitement, and irritated because she has not had a real fight in a long time. Out of nowhere, Red calls Green Uni Big Sister, which shocks Green so badly that she freezes on the spot. Green jumps up in alarm, asking if Red is sick or needs to go to the hospital for suddenly using such a cute title. Red clicks her tongue and decides to shorten it, telling her she will just call her You instead. She then sits down properly in front of Green, her expression uncharacteristically serious, and asks a deep question about the reason Green lives. Green is caught off guard by the sudden seriousness. Leaning slightly toward Blue, she whispers that Red has finally grown up and entered puberty. Red immediately explodes, shouting in Green's face that she heard that, and adds that she knows Blue is nodding along in agreement. Red then tells Green that she asked Yuji-tai earlier what kind of joy he finds in life. With an unusually serious tone, she repeats his answer, that life simply goes on and cannot be abandoned. Green blinks, realizing that Red is speaking almost exactly like him. Red concludes that Yuji-tai feels no real joy at all. She explains her own belief bluntly. People live to feel joy, and if that feeling does not exist, then life itself is meaningless. She gives an example, pointing at Gold, whom she mockingly calls a yellow monkey, saying that Gold feels overwhelming happiness just from eating good food. She then gestures toward Blue, who is quietly content playing with a worn teddy bear. Green thinks carefully and suggests that Yuji-tai might simply not have told them what he truly enjoys. Red cuts her off immediately, saying that Green resembles him exactly, mysterious, unreadable, and impossible to understand. She adds with a sarcastic laugh that both of them are unbearably boring. Red challenges Green directly, asking whether there is anything fun in her life at all. Green's eyes suddenly shine as she smiles and admits that there is, in fact, one thing. She casually drops the bombshell that she finds Yuji-tai surprisingly shy. Red stares at her in pure disbelief, then bursts out laughing, calling it nonsense and insisting that he is clearly just a cold-blooded psychopath. Green agrees that she thought the same at first, but then softly corrects herself, saying that he actually has a surprisingly cute side. Red recoils in horror at Green's gentle smile, calling it terrifying. She lunges at Green and starts tickling her playfully. Green laughs helplessly as she tries to escape, while Blue sits nearby watching the scene quietly with her doll. Suddenly, Gold charges up the stairs, shouting "Uni!" with explosive enthusiasm. She announces in shock and excitement that the entire Lair community is buzzing about Red, and that a fan cafe has already been created in her name. Red frowns deeply, wondering why anyone would make a fan cafe for her. Gold begins to stammer nervously, clearly hiding something, which prompts Red to scream right into her face, demanding to know what kind of nonsense she is imagining. At that moment, Yuji-tai appears, buttoning his shirt. Almost immediately, the door opens again and Green peeks in, calling out to him. She hesitates before saying she has a request. He apologizes for not hearing her knock earlier and allows her to enter once he finishes dressing. Green steps inside in her uniform, and with a shy expression, asks if he would accompany her today. Yujitai is taken aback by the sudden request. Green immediately points out that he always goes out with Red and Blue, pouting as she scolds him for never spending time with her even once. Yujitai tries to explain himself, but memories of Red's violent tendencies and Gold's constant demands for food flash through his mind. A wave of exhaustion hits him, and he refuses Green's request. At that moment, Red enters the room with Blue beside her. Blue looks up innocently and asks Green why she isn't heading to school. Red tells her to finish her food first. Green then states clearly that she has asked the master out on a date. Gold freezes in shock, while Red calmly assumes she means accompanying her as a guardian. Gold thinks for a moment before seriously asking Yujitai why he never goes out with Green, accusing him of favoring Red and Blue. Yujitai denies it while looking at Green. Gold laughs while chewing her toast, saying favoritism isn't good but that she understands. She casually talks about her mother, who met countless men but chose only a few, earning Red's admiration. Green thinks about those left behind and wonders quietly if that makes her similar to them. When Yujitai asks what she means, Green snaps back, accusing him of kidnapping her and then neglecting her, comparing it to catching a fish and refusing to feed it. Her expression turns lonely and hurt. Gold pats her head and blames Yujitai, while Green confirms she's the only one being left out. Red steps in, saying she understands why he stays close to them out of concern, but reminds him he can't watch over everyone forever. She asks him to go with Green this time, promising not to cause trouble. After a brief pause, Yujitai finally agrees. Green hugs Gold tightly in joy and throws Yujitai a playful wink. The scene shifts to a large academy hall filled with students. Staff members whisper about Green's beauty and her perfect interview score, speculating about her background. One scoffs at the Yu family name, calling it low class, unaware that Yujitai sits right behind them, listening in silence. The instructor announces the end of etiquette class and the start of social dance training, causing visible embarrassment among the students. She explains that as representatives of their families, they must be able to dance at formal events, adding with a laugh that ignorance would be far more humiliating. Students begin forming pairs shyly. Murmurs spread as Green remains alone, despite expectations that admirers would rush to her side. Many hesitate, sensing an invisible pressure around her that makes approaching feel forbidden. The supervising professor notices Green without a partner and jokingly suggests dancing with her herself, but Green surprises everyone by asking if her guardian can be her partner. The professor hesitates, then agrees. Green rushes toward Yujitai at incredible speed, extending her hand and urging him to hurry. He stands up reluctantly, admitting he isn't good at dancing. Green looks at him with pleading, watery eyes, asking if he plans to leave her alone in such a situation. Yujitai lets out a quiet sigh and gives in. The lesson begins, and the professor instructs everyone to hold hands and move slowly to the count. Yujitai stands stiffly in front of Green while she averts her gaze shyly. She asks softly if he's embarrassed to touch her, which he denies coldly. She grips his hand tightly, surprising him, and calmly explains that holding hands doesn't automatically mean emotional attachment. He replies that he understands. Her expression turns serious as she warns him not to dance poorly, reminding him that her grades depend on it. They begin moving together in sync at the center of the hall. Green notices sweat soaking his hands, back, and chest, realizing how tense he truly is. For a brief moment, her thoughts wander to the physique hidden beneath his clothes, and her face flushes bright red. Suddenly, she stumbles, losing her balance, and Yujitai instantly catches her. Their faces end up dangerously close, and a thin stream of blood drips from Green's nose. He calmly points it out, stating that her nose is bleeding. The scene moves outside the hall, where Green sits quietly with a tissue pressed under her nose, sipping juice. Yujitai watches her with concern and asks if she's sure she doesn't need to visit a hospital. Green looks genuinely confused and asks what hospital he's talking about, insisting that she feels completely fine now. Yujitai finds it odd, since she didn't hit anything that could explain the bleeding. Green avoids his gaze and nervously claims she doesn't know the reason either. With a quick smile, she shifts the topic, saying the important thing is that he danced much better than she expected. She narrows her eyes playfully and asks if he learned how to dance somewhere before. Yujitai's thoughts drift into a memory of a night scene where he moves gracefully with another woman, who praises him for not being as clumsy as she assumed, while he quietly promises to improve. He snaps back to reality, turns his back slightly to Green, and answers calmly that he has never learned dancing. Green watches him suspiciously while sipping her juice, then casually asks if he has any plans after school. He replies that he doesn't. Brightening instantly, Green ties up her hair with enthusiasm and invites him to go do something fun together. The scene abruptly cuts to Moscow, Russia. Under the pale moonlight, an old, isolated building stands, revealed to be a research facility belonging to the demon organization Invisibility. Red alarms scream through the halls as researchers flee in chaos, blood staining the floors. One curses under his breath, realizing the situation has spiraled into disaster. A female researcher with demonic traits runs desperately through the corridors, terror flooding her face as she wonders what kind of monster appeared so suddenly. She reaches a sealed door and realizes their current defenses are useless. Panicking, she tries to contact headquarters. A shadow dressed in black materializes directly behind her. Yuji-Tae's voice cuts through the air, cold and calm, asking where she thinks she's going in such a hurry. The researcher freezes, trembling, barely managing to ask what he wants from her. His eyes glow an eerie blue as he questions her about something his master is searching for, specifically the location of Prototype X, the command-type transcendent demon. She screams that she would rather die than reveal anything. The shadow immediately grips her neck, lifting her off the ground. As darkness gathers around him, Yuji-Tae remarks coldly that the true nature of demons always reveals itself when death draws near. He fixes his gaze on her eye, describing how the human facade twists and collapses like a puppet with severed strings once pain becomes unbearable. Tightening his hold, the shadow mockingly invites her, with chilling sarcasm, to dance alone beneath the moonlight. Yuji-Tae's shadow stands motionless over the corpse, blood slowly dripping from his hand. After completing the task, the shadow connects telepathically with his original body and reports that Prototype X has already been converted into a display specimen and transferred to the headquarters of the Invisibility organization. The shadow adds that, in this timeline, Prototype X takes the form of a female sealed inside a water tank. Unlike previous regressions, Yuji-Tae confirms through the shadow that the researcher who was eliminated is named Vera. He immediately orders his copy to assume Vera's appearance and infiltrate the Invisibility headquarters to uncover Prototype X's true identity. The shadow acknowledges the command without hesitation and begins carrying out the mission. The scene shifts to a clothing store where Yuji-Tae sits quietly, waiting. His thoughts drift to the danger posed by Prototype X, a demon with the terrifying ability to merge the consciousness of countless demons within a single location. Images of devastation and mass destruction flash through his mind as he recalls how the longer it exists, the more violent and uncontrollable it becomes. In every previous regression, he had prioritized killing Prototype X as quickly as possible. This time, however, the lack of clear information complicates the search. Activating the Grandfather Clock Authority, he traces the malice seeping in from beyond the horizon of Providence, searching for the entity that deviated from the world's timeline. As his perception sharpens, he realizes that Prototype X's altered identity is also the result of that same malicious influence the Guardian mentioned earlier. Clenching his fist, Yuji-Tae decides that nothing has truly changed. Anything that threatens the peace of his daily life will simply be erased. Green suddenly calls out to him from behind a fitting room curtain, snapping him out of his thoughts. She urges him to look, and he turns toward her with a questioning expression. Green steps out wearing a bold black swimsuit beneath a sheer cover-up and asks with a bright smile if it suits her. Yuji-Tae immediately looks away and asks what she thinks she's doing. Laughing cheerfully, she explains that summer is approaching and she thought she might as well buy one. She even invites him to step inside the curtain, teasing that he can't see properly from where he's standing. He reminds her about the fun thing she mentioned earlier and asks if this is the childish prank she meant. Green pouts playfully, saying it's fun for her. Yuji-Tae warns her seriously not to provoke him by thinking strange things. They leave the store together, Green continuing to tease him by claiming he clearly wanted to see her, while he firmly denies it despite her relentless amusement. Green hums cheerfully and asks if she should just buy the swimsuit. Yuji-Tae replies flatly that if she's done playing around, they should head home. She then reminds him that they came out to buy gifts for the children, which surprises him. Green explains that Blue's teddy bear is completely worn out, so she plans to buy a new one, along with gifts for the others as well. When Yuji-Tae asks what she intends to buy for them, she says Gold only cares about clothes, so she'll get her a proper wallet so she won't feel awkward when going out with friends later. As for Red, Green explains that she asked her directly, and Red mentioned wanting something she saw in a movie, though Green adds that the request was rather strange. Green suggests that she look for gifts for Blue and Red, while Yuji Tai handles Gold's present. He agrees immediately. As he walks away, Green watches his back with visible concern, quietly wondering whether it's really safe to leave him to choose a gift on his own. The scene shifts to a toy store called Toy and Toy, where a female clerk lounges behind the counter, visibly bored. Yuji Tai enters holding a teddy bear. The clerk immediately begins sizing him up, estimating his age to be somewhere between his late 20s and early 30s, noting his height, build, and striking features, guessing he might be a soldier or a model. Seeing that he's alone and clearly unfamiliar with children's toys, her eyes light up. She decides he's an easy target, exactly the type to open his wallet without resistance. Putting on her most enthusiastic smile, she greets him and asks about the child's age. Yuji Tai answers calmly that she's around 4 years old. The clerk claps her hands and says it's the cutest age, then asks if the girl is his daughter. He denies it, explaining that she's simply a child he knows. The clerk immediately assumes he must be her uncle and praises him, saying it's rare for an uncle to personally choose a gift and that the child will surely love it, though she silently judges his complete lack of taste. Noticing his confusion, she launches into her sales pitch, suggesting role-play toys instead of dolls. She presents a toy stethoscope, explaining that playing this way helps strengthen bonds and creates lasting memories between adults and children. The clerk eagerly presents a hospital play set, sweetening the deal by offering a 10% discount if he buys it along with other sets. Yuji Tai briefly imagines Ghoul dressed in a tiny nurse outfit, and he agrees without hesitation. The employee feels a surge of triumph. Soon, Yuji Tai is standing there loaded with a towering stack of boxes and gift bags, while the clerk assures him confidently that although the quantity may look excessive, it is essential for a child's emotional development. She promises he will never regret the purchase and asks if he will be paying by card. When he answers yes, her expression freezes upon seeing the black card, a type reserved only for ultra-wealthy VIP families. Everything suddenly makes sense to her. Her attitude shifts completely as she looks at him again, now seeing him as far more impressive and attractive than before. Her thoughts wander, wondering if he is married, even entertaining the idea of charming him herself. Nervously, she asks if he has a girlfriend. At that moment, Green appears, firmly hooking her arm around his and calling him a pa, staring in disbelief at the mountain of purchases. The employee's face falls as she assumes Green must be his partner. Green scolds him, asking why he bought so many random items when they agreed to buy a doll for Ghoul. Yuji Tai simply responds that he bought a doll. From the context, the clerk realizes Green is actually his younger sister. Trying to recover, she starts explaining that children may take time to adjust to unfamiliar toys, but Green cuts her off sharply. Her expression darkens, and a heavy pressure fills the air as she states firmly that Ghoul doesn't like toys like these. Green picks up a simple teddy bear instead, saying this one is better. She explains that it resembles the bear Gold once owned, so it won't confuse Ghoul. Yuji Tai admits quietly that this was what he had originally intended to buy. With a bright smile, Green asks the clerk whether this one also qualifies for a VIP discount. That night at the house, excited screams echo through the halls as Gold, Red, and Ghoul react to the gifts. The new brown teddy bear sits beside neatly arranged luxury gift bags. Gold dances around happily with her new wallet, declaring her love for Green and Yuji Tai since she had hesitated to buy one herself. Red stands nearby examining her gift bag, while Ghoul stares at her new bear with sparkling eyes. Gold asks what Red received since Ghoul got a doll. Red opens her bag, revealing exactly what she asked for, handcuffs and a whip, wearing a dangerously amused smile. She calls Gold a monkey and invites her closer to try something. Gold recoils in pure terror, shaking her head frantically. Chaos erupts as Gold screams and begs while Red chases her, trying to snap the cuffs on. Away from the commotion, Yuji Tai sits quietly with Ghoul on his lap, enjoying the rare calm as she hugs her new bear with contentment. Green approaches him holding a small box and asks him to take it as well. Inside, he finds a navy blue tie. Green explains she bought it because she noticed he always wears the same one to class. With a gentle smile, she promises that when she earns her own money someday, she'll buy him a full suit. He thanks her softly. He asks if she followed his advice and bought something for herself too. She answers that she did. When he asks what it is, she gives him a bright, mysterious smile and says she'll show him later. Several weeks pass. The janitor opens a door to find Yuji Tai already dressed and preparing to leave. Yuji Tai informs him that he will be away for about 3 days and entrusts him with caring for Ghoul during his absence. The Guardian asks if the trip is far, and Yuji Tai confirms it is, adding that Red will be coming with him. As he speaks, Red is seen lazily waking up on the bed. The scene shifts to a spacious plaza crowded with students as the official start of the event is announced. The program is introduced as a combat simulation against demons, and students move around in small groups within a highly advanced, technology-filled environment. Soon, a massive purple gate materializes in the center of the square. It is explained that this exercise is a survival combat training conducted inside a virtual dungeon, lasting 3 days and 2 nights, and designed specifically for martial arts students. The rules are stated clearly. Participants must form teams of 3, and each team will be guided by a guardian who issues commands from outside. This role is known as operating, a real position used by superhuman units during actual monster raids. Yuji Tai appears wearing a headset, adjusting it calmly as he prepares to act as the operator for the simulation. Beside him, Yo Rayam scoffs at the tense expressions of the surrounding students, mocking them and wondering if these chicks have ever experienced real combat before. Yuji warns her sternly that this exercise is not something to take lightly, but she responds with complete indifference. Yuji reminds her that this is not a solo mission and orders her to form a team. Yo Rayam insists that she will only team up with people she personally approves of. Shortly after, a nervous male and female student approach her hesitantly. The boy politely asks if she would like to join them, seeing that she hasn't chosen a team yet. Yo Rayam immediately explodes in rage, shouting insults at them and ordering them to leave. Yuji Tai intervenes before things escalate further and calmly asks for their names. The boy introduces himself as Haki Sujiro, and the girl introduces herself as Kim Jian. Both bow deeply, promising they will work hard and not hold anyone back. Yo Rayam snaps again, calling them weak and repeating her demand for them to leave. Ignoring her protests, Yuji gives a single command through the headset, formally accepting them into the team. Yo Rayam shouts in disbelief and anger, yelling that she never agreed to this. Yuji replies coldly that if she has a problem, she is free to find another team. Grinding her teeth, Yo Rayam reluctantly accepts the situation, muttering that everything about it is irritating. Haki and Jian stand stiffly in front of her, visibly nervous. Yo Rayam warns them in a clear, threatening tone that if they get in her way during combat, they will die. Instead of getting angry, Haki nervously thanks her, only to be struck violently from behind. A blonde-haired student with a delinquent appearance steps forward, mocking Haki and calling him a loser while reminding him of a previous threat. Haki trembles and apologizes repeatedly. Kim Jian watches in silence, her expression cold. The delinquent turns toward her, asking why she isn't saying anything while her boyfriend apologizes. He rudely grabs her hair, yanking it as she stares back defiantly without a word. One of his companions tries to stop him, warning that guardians are present, but the delinquent, Johnny, laughs and says adults don't care about singles. Johnny continues harassing Kim Jian, telling her to lift her bangs and mocking her gloomy look as she weakly resists. Suddenly, Yo Rayam steps in with a sharp gaze, demanding to know what he meant by the word singles. Johnny freezes, instantly realizing who she is, the infamous lunatic from the Blue Dragon dorms. Yo Rayam repeats her question in a colder, more forceful tone. Sweat pours down Johnny's face as he recalls his family's strict warnings to never get involved with Yo Rayam of the U family. Forcing a laugh, he explains that singles refers to students without guardians. As he walks away, he adds contemptuously that they are nothing more than poor trash with no backing. Yo Rayam clenches her fists, realizing why her teammates are treated as weak. Her anger and frustration surge as she mutters about being forced into a team of beggars. Johnny suddenly places a hand on her shoulder, mocking her for standing alongside such weaklings and offering her a place on his team instead, claiming they can make room for her. His companions protest, but Johnny waves them off, deciding that regardless of her madness, her strength makes her useful. Mistaking her silence for consideration, he smirks, convinced he can win her over. Without warning, Yo Rayam delivers a devastating punch straight to Johnny's face. The surrounding students freeze in shock. Johnny collapses, clutching his face in agony, while his companions and Yo-Rayam's teammates stare in disbelief. Yo-Rayam glares at Johnny, her eyes burning with rage as she snaps at him, demanding to know who gave him permission to place his filthy hand on her shoulder. She asks coldly whether he truly believes they share that kind of familiarity. Johnny's face twists in fury as he shouts back, hurling curses at her and accusing her of acting superior, as if she were born above him. Before he can finish, Yo-Rayam unleashes a terrifying scream that shakes the air, warning him that if she ever sees him again, he will die. Johnny backs away while spitting threats of his own, his voice trembling despite his bravado. Her teammates watch in frozen fear as Yo-Rayam stares after him, her expression twisted into something almost demonic. From a distance, Yuji-Tai observes the scene in silence, his face unreadable. Before the tension can escalate further, a clear announcement echoes across the square, calling for all students' attention as a massive gate fully manifests, and the person in charge steps forward. Professor Quan Kai, the instructor responsible for practical demon combat, appears and begins explaining the simulation rules. He states that teams will be separated and inserted into different starting zones within the simulation arena. He emphasizes that all actions, movement, kills, deaths, and even damage dealt, will be scored, with rankings displayed in real time throughout the event. He then highlights a critical rule: any student who dies inside the simulation will be revived after 3 hours at a different location. This, he warns, makes reckless behavior extremely dangerous. Finally, he announces the name of the virtual dungeon, Ant Tunnel. With a short wish of good luck, he orders all teams to disperse and begin. Yo-Rayam steps through the gate alongside her team, immediately commenting on how disturbingly realistic the environment feels. Her excitement surges, and she suggests they start attacking other teams right away. Kim Jin quickly stops her, asking if she even knows where the other teams are positioned. Yo-Rayam shrugs and replies that if they keep moving, they're bound to run into someone eventually. Hacky objects, pointing out that neither he nor Jin has her speed or stamina. Jin adds that charging ahead alone could easily expose them to a rear ambush. Yo-Rayam scoffs, dismissing their caution as nothing more than an excuse for weakness. Jin insists that they should at least form a plan, but Yo-Rayam cuts her off sharply, calling her a coward and ordering them to simply guard her back while she handles the fighting. The argument escalates when Jin reminds her that this is a team battle, not a solo rampage. Yo-Rayam's eyes flare with anger, and her killing intent spills into the air, forcing both teammates to stiffen in fear. She coldly reminds them that she only accepted them out of pity and that they should remember their place. Hacky hurriedly steps in to calm things down. But Yuji-Tai's voice suddenly cuts through the channel. He asks them calmly whether they have a target number of teams they want eliminated. Then, even more casually, he asks how many teams they want him to drop them behind. Jin freezes in disbelief, stating that such a thing is impossible since operators would never reveal enemy locations so easily. Yo-Rayam, however, pauses. Then her expression twists into savage excitement as she realizes what Yuji-Tai means. With a feral grin, she declares that she wants to wipe out every team she sees. The scene shifts elsewhere inside Ant Tunnel. Johnny clutches his swollen nose, cursing through the pain as his teammates berate him for his stupidity. They remind him that their families explicitly warned them never to provoke Yo-Rayam of the Yu family. Johnny snaps back defensively, claiming he was only trying to be friendly and had no idea she was that insane. One teammate eyes him suspiciously and asks if he was serious about kicking someone out to recruit Yo-Rayam. Johnny denies it hastily, saying he was just testing her reaction. Still seething, he swears that he will tear her apart the moment he gets his chance. A mocking voice suddenly echoes from above, repeating his words back to him. "Tear me apart." Johnny's blood runs cold. Yo-Rayam drops down from above at terrifying speed, her sword already drawn, a vicious smile stretching across her face as she challenges him to try. In a blur of motion, she slams her foot into Johnny's face, sending him flying as his HP plummets. The impact creates a thunderous shockwave that rattles the tunnel walls. Johnny's teammates scream in panic, shouting about an ambush as they hastily draw their weapons. Yo-Rayam lands lightly in a crouch and looks up at them with glowing blood-red eyes, her smile widening. She tells them coldly that they're mistaken. "This isn't a fight," she says. Straightening slowly, Her voice drips with murderous delight. It's a one-sided hunt. The remaining members of Johnny's team, excluding Johnny himself, began to panic. One of them reacted first, firing continuous laser shots from a high-tech weapon. Red moved calmly through the barrage, sword in hand, dodging every beam with effortless precision. Each laser that came close was either avoided or cleanly sliced apart as she advanced step by step toward the shooter. When she was close enough, Red lunged forward. Her blade flashed once, cutting straight through the man. His weapon split cleanly in half, and his HP dropped instantly from 100 to 0. She barely paused before shifting her gaze to another opponent who attacked her from above. The man swung down with a heavy strike, confident in his advantage from higher ground. One of Johnny's teammates watched closely, convinced Red would finally be forced to dodge. The attacker had elevation, greater weight, and a stronger weapon. There was no way she could overpower him, or so he believed. Red blocked the strike head-on. She smiled, a cruel and amused expression spreading across her face, as if asking whether the brat truly thought he could defeat her in a contest of strength. With a single swing, she sent him flying upward into the cave ceiling. His HP dropped from full to 0 in an instant. Red landed smoothly, her sword still spinning as dragon fire coiled around the blade. When it was over, she looked almost disappointed. This hadn't even been enough to warm her up. She wondered briefly if this was really all the strength Johnny's team had. Then one of her teammates shouted, panic in his voice. Johnny was still alive. His jaw was broken, his face twisted, and he stood shaking violently, forcing a nervous smile as if begging her to stop. Red answered him with a jumping kick that smashed straight into his face, warping it further and dropping his HP to 0. At that moment, even Johnny's operator realized the truth. This had never been a fight they could win. Red's teammates began congratulating her, stunned by how effortlessly she had wiped out the entire squad alone. Even the purple-haired girl hadn't realized Red was this strong until now. Seeing it firsthand made it clear why she was famous. Still, what impressed her most was Red. It was Yuji Tai. Catching another team this quickly without mana detection, especially when mana use was restricted in the simulation, was absurd. The timing of Red's ambush had been flawless, something only possible because of Yuji Tai's precise instructions and positioning. She realized then that Yuji Tai was easily a first-tier operator. An announcement echoed through the dungeon. Team 37 has been completely defeated. Respawn scheduled in 3 hours at a different location. Johnny's operator hurried him away toward medical recovery. Watching this, Yuji Tai simply gave a quiet nod. Nearby, students began whispering about rankings. Team 37's defeat placed Red's team at 6th place, despite having fought only once. At first, the girl thought this made sense. Many teams hadn't even encountered enemies yet. On top of that, Red had eliminated an entire team without taking a single point of damage. The ranking was justified. Haki ran up to Red excitedly, shouting about how amazing she was. Red immediately grabbed him by the mouth, squeezing hard, and screamed at him, asking what exactly he was so proud of. He hadn't done anything except watch from behind. Her anger spilled out. She was furious that her teammates hadn't provided support. They were sharpshooters. At the very least, they should have prepared to snipe enemies while she fought. Instead, they stood there like spectators, useless and passive. She demanded to know if their weapons were just decorations. Red told them not to be satisfied with 6th place. She declared that they were taking 1st place no matter what. Her voice carried both fury and absolute conviction. The two teammates nodded quickly in agreement. She grabbed the male teammate by his tie, ordering him to dress properly and stop acting like a coward. From afar, Yuji Tai watched the scene quietly, a thoughtful look crossing his face. The scene then shifts. Blue sat on the floor at home, playing with her teddy bears, occasionally glancing toward the door and wondering when Yuji Tai would return. Nearby, the janitor attempted to read her a picture book. Remembering the disaster from last time, he quickly abandoned the idea. Time passes. 2 days after the simulation begins, the scene moves to the mock dungeon control room. Large screens display live feeds of multiple teams, while several instructors monitor the event. A man named Wantai, a demonic human combat professor, stretches lazily. He remarks that it's the final day and admits he's already starting to feel bored. Turning to his assistant, he asks which team currently holds 1st place. The assistant answers that Team 1 is leading, with Team 50 close behind. One tie nods in understanding. Team 1 is composed entirely of elite second-year students. Given that, the outcome is exactly as expected. The instructor frowned, wondering who exactly was in Team 50. When the assistant answered, realization struck immediately. It was the team with red. The instructor knew her well, the infamous troublemaker of the Blue Dragon School. In practice, she was a one-person army even though she technically had two teammates. Hisaki and Jin were both sharpshooters, usually positioned in support while Red dominated the front line. Still, that alone didn't explain how they had climbed to second place. The assistant pulled up more detailed data. As the route map appeared on the screen, even the instructor was stunned. The path Team 50 had taken through the dungeon was highly irregular, completely unlike standard movement patterns. It was calculated, efficient, and avoided unnecessary risks. The assistant hesitated before speaking, then wondered aloud if UG might be an actual operator from the Alliance. His movements were too clean, his decisions too precise. Everything about his commands felt professional. That thought unsettled the instructor. He himself was an Alliance operator and knew almost everyone in the field, yet he had never heard of anyone like UG, nor of any family connected to him. Background checks on the man were spotless, too spotless, as if someone had erased his past entirely. The instructor was already aware of the special cases under UG's care. Red, the uncontrollable fighter. Green, praised by magic professors as a once-in-a-generation genius who executed everything flawlessly. Both were under this mysterious guardian's supervision. The assistant then mentioned something that had been bothering him. He pointed out that Team 1 appeared to be marking the dungeon. Their routes never overlapped with the teams ranked 3rd or 4th, not even once. It almost looked as if they were signaling each other. The instructor raised an eyebrow, surprised the assistant would call that suspicious. In real combat scenarios, communication without devices was a skill, not cheating. If anything, it showed high-level coordination and should be praised. The assistant immediately realized his mistake and corrected himself. Still, the instructor knew one thing. If teams deliberately avoided each other after crossing paths, that would cross the line. Inside the dungeon, Red slammed her fist into a stone wall, cracks spreading outward. She snarled in frustration. Even without dying a single time, they were still stuck in second place. She turned on Hisaki, demanding answers. Both he and Jin tried to calm her, saying second place was still impressive. That only made her angrier. She kicked Hisaki lightly, furious that they were settling when she wanted first place, or nothing. Jin finally spoke up, forcing herself to stay calm. She apologized for interrupting Red earlier and explained that while Red could push endlessly, the rest of the team was exhausted. If they forced things now, they might start losing points instead of gaining them. Playing it safe for the moment was the smarter choice. Red stepped in close, cutting Jin off mid-sentence. She placed a hand on Jin's shoulder and spoke with unexpected calm, saying she understood. She admitted that the two of them had improved and tried hard. Jin was shocked. Then Red's grip tightened instantly. That was exactly why Jin was a loser. Red launched into another speech, her voice sharp and merciless, all of which Yuji Tai listened to silently through the channel. She asked them if they knew why people looked down on them. It wasn't because they were alone. It was because they gave up the moment things became difficult. She reminded them of the first day when they promised not to drag her down. If they wanted first place, they had to stop living like losers. Both teammates were fired up to the point of tears. Even so, they stood up, determination burning in their eyes. Red finally smiled, seeing how far they had come from being complete pushovers. Yuji Tai called out, telling them to regroup if the speech was over. He was staring at a strange marking carved into the dungeon wall. Red noticed it too. Hisaki mentioned he had seen similar symbols elsewhere. That was when it clicked. Senior teams were communicating through markings, forming alliances and deliberately avoiding one another. The rules forced teams to fight if they crossed paths, so the seniors destroyed walls to create alternate routes. Jin hesitated, wondering if they should report this to the professors while there was still time. Red stopped her immediately. She said she had a better idea. One that would really mess with them.